D&D's fucking ruined. Everything's dead. WotC's burning the whole building down. They don't give a shit about their game. This playtest is the worst crash on the planet. All they care about is their fucking movies and their shitty toy line. The game's dead. Everyone go play fucking Vampire the Masquerade or Apocalypse World. Fuck this shit. Session's canceled. We out. Bye.
Damn. Sand devastated.
God damn it.
I didn't expect it to be used so soon.
Yeah, I didn't either. Welcome back. This session's canceled. D&D's dead. Everything's awful. How y'all doing? I got Sam here.
Hi.
I got Isaiah here.
I'm sand devastated. Help.
Matt's also here.
In Night City, you can become.
Shut the fuck up. I hate everything.
I'm just gonna go back to playing Magic. Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want. I had to comment. I had to give some sort of commentary on the people really fucking doomering on the internet over the playtest. It's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't even pay attention to fucking D&D discourse online.
Yeah,
I got enough of that.
we mentioned it last time we recorded, Sam, but like, there's been a lot of people being sort of like, I don't know, just
overly negative about
overly
the
negative,
playtest.
but also I think the thing that's really bothering me is a lot of people are treating this stuff like it's not playtest, like it's already been printed. Right,
I was gonna say, like, this is playtest for a reason.
Right, yeah.
And they're testing a new design philosophy with, one D&D. They want us to see if we like it before they continue developing shit like this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's, it's just kind of funny. It's just funny to watch people lose their minds sometimes,
It's not like we're playing a competitive video game and they just release patch notes and all the best characters in the game just got nerfed to literally nothing.
Exactly.
Like, that's not what's happening.
And
which is also fixable.
Which is, true. Also fixable. And another thing I mentioned last time, Sam, was like a lot of people are getting, and I know you'll be on this wavelength. A lot of people are kind of losing their shit over like things being more or less powerful, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, people, calm down. The last thing to get adjusted is the math.
Yeah.
It's literally...
It literally is.
The very end.
Like, because the problem with adjusting math in the very beginning is that if you do it piece by piece by piece, you end up with a product that has math that's all over the place.
Right, yeah, the math doesn't make sense.
Like, you need to do it at the end. Like, you need to have a firm grasp of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then at the end, you redo all the math. And even then, like, at least in the term of video games, like, you're constantly adjusting that math. But
yeah,
at least with D&D, you can't run into a bug where you're just like, hey, this math doesn't work. I actually get an overflow error, and I get infinite damage.
True.
Dark Souls RPG? What? No. Never. Who would think of such a thing?
I was thinking of one of the glitches in Ocarina of Time, but that works too.
Yeah. Anyway, if it wasn't apparent, we're continuing the playtest discussion this time round, which is why I'm back in the big fucko McDicko seat.
I crazy glued the seat to his ass.
He did. It's really uncomfortable. I haven't been able to sleep.
Kind of terrible.
Someone send help.
Did you use crazy glue or did you use thermal glue?
Oh shit!
No, we can't.
Yeah,
no.
glue.
You use glue.
Special.
I just.
Although I kind of do want to say like that, as like the more online discussions, like I keep watching YouTube videos and reading D&D Reddit and the Twitter, the more I'm kind of thinking about doing what like Monty Glue and a lot of people from the Unexpectables are just like, just play test. I'm just not gonna look at it. I'm just gonna be like, it's neat, and then just
that is the point.
I was just say that defeats the purpose.
It defeats the purpose of the playtest, but also like I don't know. I kind of am getting annoyed by how angry people are getting.
But here's the thing, Matt. The secret is not to not look at the playtest. The secret is to look at the playtest yourself and ignore all and not look at all the dumb shit everyone else is saying.
True. Yeah. Form your own opinion.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Forming your own opinion? That's fucking crazy talk right there.
Right.
Who does that?
It's
And then planting your feet in the ground when you're wrong and doubling down.
well.
Oh, what? Burying your head in the sand? What?
I don't. I do not condone that. I didn't say that. But I mean, look. If you really, if you want to ignore the playtest, you certainly can. But it does kind of defeat the point if you choose to. But obviously, I can't. Nobody can force. It's like.
Did we talk about people asking to adjust feats last time?
No,
that was in between.
Okay. All right. I listen. My perception of time has been real not great recently.
Yeah.
So
the warp does that.
it really do.
Yeah.
You think you're in there for 2 days and you pop out, it's been like a week.
That being said, Sam, anything you want to comment on from the classes since you were not here last time? Hey, by the way, Sam's back.
Hey, how you doing? Listen, how many times am I gonna have to not be here because of stupid shit?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't really know.
Anything that stands out deeply in your loins?
Not really. I mean, there's some changes to Ranger, I guess, but like everything else feels like it's just they're using a better nomenclature for everything.
Yes, that was something I commented on. Is a big part of this playtest is cleaning up terminology.
Yeah, which is
making shit more clear.
Yeah. So like things like I don't know if I agree with using our training, because I don't know, just as a phrase it sounds kind of weird, but
it sounds a little weird, but I also don't have a better idea, so
yeah, that I don't know, I feel like it just doesn't roll off the tongue as well as armor proficiency does. But other than that, like whatever, who really gives a shit? Yeah. Oh, I guess is tireless a regular thing for hunter or hunter ranger? Okay. I don't know. I don't usually look at ranger.
So tireless before, I think it was just higher level.
I mean, it's level 11. It's pretty high.
No, it was. It did get did it get adjusted? What? Hold on.
We literally talked about it.
I know we did. I know. Well, there's a lot of shit. Hold on. The specifics I don't remember. No, wait. What? Hold on. Or was tireless one of the optional Tasha's things? Was that what it was?
Maybe
that's what it was.
It
yes. Sorry. Tireless wasn't. A lot of what they did with the Ranger was they took the optional features from Tasha's and made them like baseline shit.
Okay. That's good.
And
I know that they changed the way that Hunter's part works.
They did, yeah. The thing that we all had a contention with on Ranger in particular was they just took out favored enemy and favored terrain completely and just sort of
said,
fuck it.
I don't see, my problem with it is that like, yeah, it sucks to take things away, but also unless you cooperated with your DM and had like a very specific, understanding of how the campaign was going to go, didn't really matter all that much, because like it could come up once, it could come up never, it could come up a million times, and it all depended on your DM.
This is true.
Like, yeah, I think it's worth mentioning. We were talking about this last session, the idea of like, if something doesn't work, try to fix it. Don't just don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's why I said it sucks to remove it, just like entirely.
I think the big thing too, in particular with like in regards to Ranger specifically, is, and I think Rogue, this is kind of true also, is a lot of people like the fantasy of being the specialist class of like, I'm really good at this specific thing, which is why people love the fictional idea of favorite terrain and favorite enemy, because it really hones in like, I'm really good at fucking up these motherfuckers right here. But a lot of 5e is sort of like broad design, fits in. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Very I don't want to say non-committal. That's not the word I want, but like 5e
design. Say the V word.
The V word.
What? Versatile.
No, that is definitely not the word I was looking for at all. 5e is designed very broadly, so it can fit in a lot of things. It's like as a game generally, it's very open. It's not honing on any one specific theme. So when you have the specialist style class like a ranger, you're sort of taking a game where it's like we don't have a big specific theme and now we're making a specific theme.
Well, yeah, that's why I said
conflicting.
It depends on the DM.
Yeah, like, there's some design.
You can go on do whatever campaign you ever you want, but like if you're not, giving it to the ranger, or even like occasionally being like, hey, here's the ranger's bone, or making like sections about the ranger, it kind of just doesn't help. Like the way that they made Rogue better is by taking part of the 3.5 design philosophy and making it like a really broad class, and it covers a lot of ground, but it may not specialize in everything, and it still kind of does that even with its subclasses. Like it is a pretty broad class and it covers a lot of different things, and you can play basically whatever you want with Rogue, and it'd still be fine. Whereas Ranger, you're like, I'm building my guy to do this exact thing, smiley face. That thing doesn't come up until the end of the game, but when it does come up, smiley face.
Yeah, I don't know. My idea is always like, it's okay to have the specialist class thing, right,
it is,
of any kind, and it's okay if their thing doesn't come up a lot, as long as when their thing does come up, they feel super fucking god tier, right? Like, if it's rare, then you have to make them feel amazing when it does come up, right? And I think that's part of the problem with Ranger is it is rare, and when it does come up, you're kind of like, I get advantage on this one check, guys.
Another problem is that most D&D campaigns these days are more focused on the role playing of their characters than traversing nature. So like, how often does the favored terrain come up because of that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's rare. And then, it's already rare, and then it also.
Well, I'm saying in context of like, the current status of campaigns in general, because most people play D&D nowadays for the RP, and then there are the math people, and like the math people would be like, well, Ranger isn't going to do that ever because they have this preconceived notion that they'll never interact with it. So like, yeah, I think throwing them away is kind of stupid. They could have just kept them and then updated everything else, and it still would have been fine. Like, it wouldn't have changed the class's identity very much. I mean, they still have favored enemy, but it's not like
it's favored foe. It's the favored foe ability from Tasha's combined with the new Hunter's Mark, as opposed to before where it was like pick a typing. Yeah, I don't. Let's put it this way: if I were kicking old Chris Perkins out of his seat and plopping down my ass cheeks, for me,
well, you can't because you're glued to your chair.
True, very true. But if they were not, for me, it would be like if the Rangers fighting their favorite enemy, they fucking have permanent advantage and like a +10 to hit and like a +10 to damage. Like, I'd just make them gods when they fight their favorite enemy and shit like that.
I wouldn't. I maybe not always have advantage, but I would definitely give them like improved criticals,
improved crits, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so, improved crits, maybe even more damage on a crit.
Yeah,
like, but throw him a bone.
Yeah, and then
I think Rogue is fine. And then Bard
Rogue I like. Yeah, Rogue I'm pretty happy with. I think we were all pretty happy with Rogue, and then Bard.
I mean, I talked about the double bonus action.
Yeah.
Or the double.
No, you're right. Double bonus action.
Well, it's cunning action bonus action.
Well, yes, technically, yes.
And then talking about the math of how fast you could go.
Yeah. and then Bard. The thing that there's the two things I was really sad about.
I like Bardic Inspiration from Bard.
I mean, yes.
Like that,
yes.
That's a massive improvement.
The thing I was sad about with Bardic Inspiration is kind of similar to what we were saying about the Rangers throwing out the baby with the bathwater, is they just deleted Counter Charm. And I understand that Counter Charm was fucking, useless. But I love the fictional idea of Counter Charm, so I really wish they just reworked it to be better.
My problem with reworking Counter Charm is that, like, sure, you could rework it, but like at that point, does it become overpowered? Because like the only way
I don't know. I would depend on how you. I guess it would depend on what the rework looks like, right? I don't know.
I mean, I would err. I honestly would err on the side of probably not.
I don't
because
think so, but
charming is such a rare ability anyway.
Yeah, but charm when it works is really strong.
True. I don't know.
You are denied like being able to deny an entire mechanic that is very strong in its own right and could, really shape a particular boss fight would be pretty powerful.
True, I'll give you that. But where my brain sort of goes
firsthand too.
Yeah, where my brain sort of goes on this is there are so many enemies that can just ignore your mechanics because they've lumped that mechanic in with charm that it seems almost like a leveling the playing field, because there's almost, as far as I'm aware, very little actually lets you avoid or resist charm effects.
Correct.
Other than having like magical resistance the way that gnomes do, or
magic item.
Or magic item, or just being a barbarian, being too fuck off angry to actually give a shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yes, it would be more powerful. Like the one that I was thinking of is like you as the bard are just immune to it, because to me that makes sense, right? Like I don't see the succubus charming the bard. I see the succubus seducing the bard in the same way that the bard's probably trying to seduce the succubus.
Yeah. You grab
but
the
everyone
succubus.
else is really dumb, and he's like, wait, are y'all actually falling for this shit? No, I'm just doing a bit. What are you doing? What is happening right now? You know what I mean? Like
the succubus grabs the bard by the nuts and he looks her in the eyes and is like, oh, that's the game we're playing.
Yeah. But yeah, so like you would give the bard immunity, and then you could like if your allies are within like, we'll make it like a paladin aura, right? To like 10 feet, they have advantage. And like to me, perfect counter charm.
I mean, if they have advantage and the bard's immune, that's better. But like, it entirely depends on how they work it, because I could see them just being like, yeah, you can just use your bardic inspiration.
Yeah,
because that's exactly how I see them doing.
Could do that too.
Counter charm, which would just be like, yeah, as a reaction, you just say LOL, Lamau.
Yep. And then the other thing I was real sad about is they took out Song of Rest for seemingly no perceivable reason to me. I don't understand.
That one's definitely
fucking weird.
Weird.
I just why?
Just strange.
Yeah.
Because that one's really nice. Because that gives a lot of flavor to Bard.
Yeah. All right. So, Feats. We are talking about the Featsies.
And I feel like we've done a Feat episode before.
Yeah, big feet, small feet, hairy feet, skinny feet. Come on, guys.
Ignoring Matt. So,
don't kink shame me.
I'm just gonna keep ignoring Matt. In a rather amusing turn, in a weird way, Isaiah, they kind of did what you said. I don't know if you remember your comment, or I was like, do you think they're gonna change the way ASI is handled? And you're like, oh well, just make the stat bonuses like being part of feats just the standard. They basically did.
I mean,
at least for level 4 and up, it seems.
Yeah, 4th level feat.
And then they made the ability score improvement. They just made a feat, which is again just really one of those bookkeeping things. At the end of the day, it doesn't really change anything.
It just makes it less confusing.
Yeah, it's just a clarification tool. It's just a cleaning up tool, which is sure. Yep, gets the job done.
Okay,
it's good. It's good. Don't give us 30,000 pages to read. Just give us like one.
And then
just like, hey, here how's works.
Epic boons also got slapped into the feats section.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know, whatever. I mean, they basically were before anyway. They were just feats that weren't being called feats, right? Like they were just feats they were level 20 feats that weren't being
they were given to you.
They were
by the DM. That was
now you just get them at 20 instead, which is like, pretty much
now
the same.
They're more likely to be used now than they are previous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is, good. Yeah. Because you never see these things ever.
Never.
Not because people don't get to level 20. Couldn't be that.
Now, I am curious. I'm just gonna throw this thought out there. Obviously, we don't have an answer, but it's a thought. are the higher level feats, right? When we get into the 8th, the 12th, the 16th, or whatever, are those going to give bigger stat buffs, or you think they're going to keep +1 to a stat for everything?
I think they'll be +1, but they'll just be stronger overall.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling.
They might be the improved version of the feat and then give a +1. So like I could see Inspiring Leader having a greater effect to the temporary hit points if you took that and then you took the advanced version of it. Great Weapon Master, they might even be like, instead of they changed Great Weapon Master a lot.
They did, yes.
They did. Wow. I don't like it, and I'm gonna talk about it. Don't you fucking worry.
Yeah, I might. I don't know. I don't like the fact that there's no minus, but they would probably increase the extra damage if you took like Greater Weapon Master.
greatest Great Weapon Master.
Oh God, what am I playing? KOTOR?
Maybe.
Because I think I remember Jeremy Crawford saying that they only originally were planning on doing 2 like feat, like what do they call it? Tiered feats or stacking feats, where it's like, all right, you get this one at level 1, and then it leads into this feat at level 2.
I don't remember them ever saying it capped off at 2.
Well, sorry, not 2, 4. So basically, he's like, because in older editions there used to be feat trees. Right. So you take a feat, you take a feat at this level, then later on at this level it gets stronger, and then there's a capstone feat that later on that's even more powerful. But I think I remember him saying that in 5e or 1D&D's nuts that they only originally wanted to do 2 to not complicate things, but who knows? Maybe they changed their minds. They're like, we can do 3.
I think the magic number is 3.
I don't remember them saying they were going to hard cap it at 2.
It was in one of the videos. It was when the first original feat trees came out. I think it was. I think it was when Strixhaven actually.
Yes,
because that, and then the Giants.
I don't think.
I don't. For me,
huh?
Go on.
Well, I was gonna say I don't think he said where we were. I don't think what he said was. I do remember. I do remember. Yeah, I believe it was actually in response to the Dragonlance, but I could be wrong. But anyway, I don't think it was we're gonna hard cap it at only feat trees only going to two like ranks, 2 levels, whatever. I think he was just saying we only wanted to test out 2 for this particular UA because we knew that it got out of hand in previous editions, but I don't think that was like we're hard locking this in as a decision.
No, I don't think he said that. I meant like for now, he said that we're only going to do 2, and then who knows down the line.
I think 3. Yeah, 3 is probably the better. I don't know if I don't know. It'd be weird. I feel like it'd be weird if they stopped at 2 ranks of the various feats. That would feel.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So, I mean, it in video games, it's almost always been 3 to 4.
Yeah. Well, so here's my thing, right? Like, while I agree that like the magic number is 3, I cannot think of a single feat in 5e right now that's so powerful as to require a like 8th level, 12th level, 16th level, 20th level. Like, other than epic boons, I don't see any that could be that strong.
Well, yeah.
So to lock some of them away would be like,
they'd be making new
I don't know
ones.
about this.
Well, no. You're thinking about it wrong.
New ones.
Yeah, they're making new ones, not that they're locking old
like
ones.
The second level would probably be the hot, like the current tier, and then the 3rd level would just be a greater one.
I was gonna say that. Like, we're gonna have to put more feats in the game to constitute having that higher cap, because right now, if like, I mean, the idea of locking something like Lucky to like 8th or 12th level, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
I mean, well, Lucky's in this document at 4th level.
I thought Lucky was in the first one.
Oh no, sorry, that's right. Lucky's a 1st level feat.
Yeah.
Get shit out of here.
Well, I'm imagining it's like tougher. So tough is a 0 level feat. It's a free feat. Then at level 4, there's tougher, which gives you more health, and then like there's an 8th level feat, the toughest. Yeah, there you go.
Toughy Tuck Boy McTufferson.
Hell yeah, brother. And it's just like, what's your health at level 20? 4,000. Wow.
And then your DM goes, petrification. Bye.
Oh no.
Like, yeah, I mean, the idea that feats are becoming, a more integral part of the game, I feel like the idea that we're gonna have to make more was literally always on the table. Like, I don't think you were getting around that one in any way.
I mean, making it
And they have,
not an additional rule set.
Yeah, there was no getting around. Like, you were gonna have to make a bunch more. Like, that's happening.
They could even like increase the effectiveness of fighting styles. And this is okay.
Well,
listen, this is the old CRPG player in me coming out. This shit is basically how these games work. You would take these fighting styles, and then as you went on, you would increase them, or you didn't have to. It just makes you better.
Well, like, so interesting thing to point out, Sam. At the very top of the document, they mentioned what's coming in like the new playtest. One of the things they mentioned is new weapon options for certain classes.
Hallelujah.
So that could potentially be tied to fighting style stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Also, now that fighting styles, like in this document, are just feats.
A feat, you can you could do some stuff there too. So yeah, that may you may be onto something there, Sam.
It
smelling,
because like
you may be smelling something on the wind.
Fighting style, 2-weapon fight, like again, or it could be
sick. What if we get 3-weapon
feat
fighting?
trees? We're not Zoro, all right. But like 2-weapon fighting, dual wielder, they might be like, oh, here's a third feat that if you have both of them, you can take this, and it becomes like basically like old dual wielder.
Giga Chad fighter.
Which, like, people would be upset, like, oh, why did you balance it and then, like, make us take 2 feats for it? What's wrong with you? And I'd be like, listen.
Look, rebalancing is required when you're doing an overhaul like this. That's just how it goes.
Why can't I just dual wield 2 double-bladed scimitars at level 1? God!
I got things to say about that one. So.
I don't think that dual wielder is bad at all, because the max that you lose is 2 damage. You lose a max of 2. That's all.
You lose other things as well.
Not really.
You lose a +1 to your AC. That's a big one.
They did take away the +1 to the AC, but here's the thing. I have a feeling that will be in the level 8 version.
Yeah.
Right?
If they're gonna increase things, again, like they'll probably just be like, hey, here's the better version.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Also, like, yeah, 1 AC is great and all, but like, I'll be honest, I don't really think about AC all that often. I don't think about being an unkillable god. I think that's kind of boring.
Like,
well, it's not about being an unkillable god. It's the idea of, well, I'm not taking a shield, so I'm taking the non-meta option.
Yeah, you're making up for it slightly. Yes.
So the idea is that it's supposed to be almost like a pity point. It's like, yes, we understand that you're not taking a shield. Here's this thing.
Yeah. So the thing to think about.
More risk, more reward.
Yeah, except there isn't more reward now.
Don't make them more reward.
I fucking McDoubt.
I don't know. I think there's a good chance, because honestly, the thing you have to think about is the way feats were designed before is, okay, feats are optional, so people may or may not use them. We're not putting any kind of level restrictions. We are not putting, I mean, there are some prerequisites on the current design of feats, but not a ton, right? They're pretty limited prerequisites. There's a few.
You rarely even see them.
You rarely notice them.
You have to be a spellcaster or 13.
Yeah, it'll be like,
you
have to be a spellcaster. A couple of them say
proficient
13.
with a weapon. I think is one
exactly.
of
Which is barely a prerequisite.
A fighter's not going to be taking fucking warcaster.
So it's like, so it's like, because they're so open-ended, but they're an optional rule, the way they could design them before was, well, we could design them kind of however, and they might be taken at whatever level. So we need them to be sort of broadly viable at at least a good chunk of levels, if not every level. Now, because they're setting level caps, they're setting prerequisites, they're building it into the system from the ground, they can sort of rebalance in such a fashion where they're like, well, the +1 AC at lower level may have been, I'm not saying it was, but let's just say hypothetically they felt like that +1 AC at level 4 was too strong. Oh, well, now we can chop it up, put in level 8 feet. We know you're still going to get it eventually, and we can rebalance, readjust, rejigger the whole situation, because we know, basically they have more control over it because they know you're going to get it at this level, you're going to get it at that level. It's part of the whole system now, because it's really hard to design a system, like any kind of subsystem, without and then be like, I don't know if people are going to use this or not, but I have to design something. So I'm kind of shooting in the dark. Whereas now they know.
I do think the weirdest thing that they ever did with 5th edition is make Feats an optional rule set.
Yeah, like, I get why they did it, but
I get why, but like I really don't understand the decision making process. Like to be like, yes, feats are optional. One of the biggest part of 3rd edition. Part of the reason why everybody played 3rd edition. So,
yeah, it was a decision. It was a decision made because they were kind of like, it got out of hand in old editions. People didn't like it when we used it in the playtest. When they used it for the 5e playtest, they were like, people were fine without them. Blah blah blah. So there's a logic to it, but it seems like. I think the real problem is they were like, we're going to make feats optional, but we're not going to give you anything in place that's kind of similar. So it feels like there's a little bit of a gap. It felt like there was something just a little lacking. And there was, which is why everyone just said, all right, fuck it, I'm just going to use the feats. Because there was kind of a little bit of like a character customization gap, which is really what I think this all boils down to.
Yeah, well, that's why I like the upgrading feats.
Right, it's a customization option.
I kind of hate one and done things unless it's like, all right, this is really good for all this. Maybe it's not strong now, but it'll be strong later. Like it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
If it's the one and done.
I also think that's why so many people love to multi-class in 5e, because it feels like,
there's just more options.
I'm actually building a character as opposed to just taking what you're telling me I get. Like I'm making a choice. I'm deciding on something. Yeah. So it's like, now it's like, all right, well, we're putting feats in the game. So it's like, now we're putting customization in there, which I think is really at the end of the day, kind of the crux of the whole thing. And, people who think it's going to turn the game into some sort of chaotic rules mess is like,
it's not.
I mean, it could, but
from what we can see now,
it doesn't look
it's
like
not
it.
any different. And like, even if they do, the upgraded feats, like that's still not going to be a rules nightmare because you just update the feat that you have.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people, there seems to be some train of thought that it's like, we're going backwards too much. It's like, I don't know if we're going backwards that much. But I mean, we won't know till the end.
We're not doing skill points with classes right now.
We're not doing skill points.
That would confuse a lot of people.
That would be
I think
kind of funny.
Feats being tied to levels and having more prerequisites, and like I do like the fact that classes are like set into groups now.
Yeah, we were talking about that last time. We'll see if they do anything
they expand on it
with that.
Cool, because like epic boons are tied specifically to what group?
Yeah. Well, the thing that's
but if certain things are paused,
some feats.
Like other feats are like more specific to that, or like they do more with it than just, hey, we've divvied them out and like these are requisites that you need. Whatever.
Also,
we'll see.
Or not also, but the class thing, it's like, if they don't do anything with the class categories, then it will just be unnecessary word fluff.
Yeah.
If they utilize it, though, it could be potentially cool.
I mean, they are sort of utilizing it already with the prerequisites.
They are a little bit, yeah.
If they go further with it, like, the fighting styles being tied to expert or warrior group instead of...
Yeah, by default, they're a warrior only thing.
All warrior group, yeah.
Yeah, and then the ranger has like an exception.
Yeah. So like, that's interesting. They could go further with that. It does make it so that like, wait, does that make... Hold on.
Hmm?
That makes it so rogue can't take 2-weapon fighting.
No. Because 2-weapon fighting is not a fighting style. It's just a system.
2-weapon fighting is a fighting style. Dual wielder.
You're talking about the
the proficiency.
They can do it, but they can't add the ability modifier.
Yeah.
Could rogue get it before? Wait.
Yeah. No, but you could get feats.
They can take the feat for it.
Oh yeah, well yeah. So
they can't do that now. They would have to multi-class.
I see. Yeah,
they can't just take the
interesting.
feat.
Huh?
Yeah.
That tells me that there will probably be a rogue subclass that can.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be a subclass thing. Dual wielding rogue is such a intrinsic.
Well, yeah, but you're like.
There's swashbuckler. Maybe swashbuckler will.
It doesn't stop you from dual wielding right now, though, right? Like you just have slightly less damage, but it doesn't stop you right now. And because the way 2-weapon fighting got changed, it again, there's this goes back to we haven't seen all the math, so we can't really say because it's like, okay, the dual wielding rogue is a thing, which I agree. The rogue can still dual wield. And now it's 2-weapon fighting, which they don't even use that term anymore. They just call it the light weapon property. The light weapon property is now part of your one action. It doesn't use up your bonus. So now the rogue
that's nice.
Yeah, so now the rogue has more potential to hide more often, for example, the dual wielding rogue. So it's like, it's one of those things where they got like buff in one area and nerf in another area. So it's like things are getting moved around a lot. So it might end up making it might end up evening out completely is what could end up happening.
Maybe.
Again, because we don't have all the math in front of us, we can't say 100%. So I will pause on that at the moment. But also, how many rogues are really taking the dual wielder feat or the 2-weapon? How many rogues were taking that 2-weapon fighting feat anyway? I wonder.
I'm willing to bet quite a few.
I don't know.
It's such a massive part of the flavor of being a rogue. Like the rogue on the cover art for rogues is dual wielding, right? So the fact that it's like, I can dual wield daggers or weapons, but it's not great the way it is. So I'd want to make it better, and I have plenty of ASIs to spare. So I feel like it was a pretty common thing.
Maybe.
It seems like such a strange decision to not do it if you're like dead set on the dual wielding thing.
Well, the thing is, there's probably other things you could have, because rogues do get more, or did get more feats. It's like, there's probably other things you could have potentially taken. You know, wait a minute. I just had a thought. Hold on now. How many? All right, hold on. I gotta open up. I gotta open up current.
He's
quick math.
He's doing math.
I'm not doing math, but I do need to look at current rogue here for a second.
I think they get the same amount of feats.
That's what I was just thinking. Do they?
Yeah, they 4th, 8th, 10th, 12th, 16th, and 19th. Because they got one more feat at 10.
Oh, yeah.
They still get it.
Okay.
Yeah, they still have the same amount of feats.
Okay.
I wish we could see Fighter to see if Fighter still got the same amount of feats.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, right? Yeah, what's Fighter looking like in terms of feats?
God, I wish I could see Fighter.
Yeah.
Are they gonna make Fighter so that it has, fucking maneuvers just by default, please?
That's what a lot of people are thinking. We'll see. I don't know.
I hope so.
That's where the train of
just make all the battle maneuvers feats.
Well, that wouldn't necessarily make.
God,
I don't know. Maybe that would make sense.
I hope that doesn't happen, but
maybe. I don't know.
They already are feats now. So like,
no, they're not.
Fighting styles or battle maneuvers.
Battle master maneuvers. That's a feat right now.
No. Yeah, well, there is a feat to take a couple of battle maneuvers, but Matt's saying make each individual one its own feat. I think.
Yeah, I was joking. Saying that. Yeah,
the fighting styles shouldn't be all separate feats. I said this last time.
I mean, I disagree, but okay.
It literally just takes up more space for no reason. Like, put a table on a separate page.
I'll be honest, just take it, like having the fighting styles under each fucking character or having the fighting styles under feats takes up less space.
Yes.
Than making them under every single class. So they've already done that. They've already reduced the amount of space that it's taking up.
Maybe.
I don't think it's a problem. It's not a maybe, it's a guarantee.
Yes. No, the maybe is a table taking up more or less space than a list, and the answer is maybe. We don't actually know because there's a lot of
if they made a table. The problem with the table is that like you end up shoving a lot of text in there because like fighting style protection is super long. So,
The the point I made last time, Sam, about this
great weapon fighting
is by making the fighting styles feats, you're putting more mechanics under the same umbrella, which helps with readability and teachability, because rather than having to explain the difference between this is a class feature, this is a feat, this is a fighting style, it's just, oh, you get a feat, this feat gives you a specific fighting style. Like, it's under the same umbrella. It helps with clarification.
No, I understand.
I'm telling you what came up last time.
Yeah, no, I think that making things more compact makes things understandable for more people. Because
it's a teachability
I've said this
thing.
before. People have a lot of problems just reading. Like, I get it. Like, some people don't like to read everything before they start playing a game, which I might find weird, but like, if I want to know about the thing that I'm going to play, I'd like to read things about it. So I go ahead and I just like, oh, so this is how this mechanic works, or this is how this mechanic works, and then I try to go through it in my head so that I have a better understanding before I'm like, all right, we're doing it. But having it under, one umbrella instead of being like, all right, so here's how you create your character. First, you need to choose this. Then you need to choose this. Then you need to choose this. Then you need to choose this.
Yeah, referencing
and like it's
back,
all just right there is a lot, and it can cause people to just not want to do it.
Yeah, referencing back to the same mechanic that you've already utilized before makes things easier to swallow often. Is basically where I was at with it. Now, granted, I will say, if it was a situation where they made fighting styles feats and then made it so that you could only get a fighting style like level 4, that would be dumb. That I would not agree with. But as we already saw with the Ranger, they gave the Ranger an ability at level 2 that's like, pick one of the fighting style feats at level 2. So like, they've already accounted for that part of the like potential problem. So it's not like they're doing it willy-nilly, like they're thinking about it.
No, look, all I'm saying is that to me, nothing makes more sense than just putting a table in the book and then just having things reference that table.
Well, I don't know. That gets into the realm of like book organizing, and I don't know if I have enough understanding to get into that, like book organizing and referencing and page design and all that stuff.
I also think that throwing things into tables isn't a solution.
Yeah, see, the thing is like, as me and Sam have played some other games that use a lot of tables, and there's a logical limit. Shadowrun uses a lot of tables, and it doesn't help.
I get what you're. So okay, well that's the problem, right? Shadowrun suffers from like an oversaturation of it, where 5e has tables but doesn't have that many, none that you really have to pay that much attention to. So it wouldn't really be that much of a problem.
Sure, but as soon as you put
that's
one,
the mentality that gets you into that problem.
Right, you start
like,
doing more
if I
and more
put
and
this
more.
into a table, I can put this into a table too.
Yeah,
and then tables can
becomes a
become
slippery slope.
difficult to read if you like, because I know with Shadowrun, some of those tables are really hard to just look at.
Very hard to look at. Yeah, a lot of them.
Like
are
at
rough.
least with the D&D tables, they have the smart design decision of let's make them different shades for every row, which makes it much easier to read. Thank God, because I remember looking at some Shadowrun stuff and being like, "Yep, I can sure read this."
Yeah.
Same thing with like Vampire. Before we played Vampire 5th edition. Yes. No.
Yes.
Maybe 4th
Yes.
edition. I don't even know. I played some
other White Wolf shit.
like they had some tables and they weren't pretty. So it is quite literally just a balance thing. Like a table wouldn't be terrible, but there is a lot of text with some of the fighting styles, and it wouldn't mesh well with a table, because then you get row that just says you get +2 damage when you swing with one weapon in hand, and then you get the wall of text, and it just makes a giant row. Whereas it looks like what they're trying to do with like the class tables is they're trying to get like they're just making one line. They don't have anything extra. It's quite literally, here's the thing. They're trying not to go down and do 2 rows. instead of just one.
It's also worth pointing out that in the listing of the feats, they are all titled fighting style, defense, fighting style, dueling, fighting style, grit. So they're all in the same section of the feat list. It's not like they're all in different areas.
Yeah. Well, look, yes. I mean, I think we're focusing on something for a little too long, but like all I'm saying is there's bloat in this section that doesn't necessarily need
I think there is always bloat in feats and spells, and that's just always how it's going to be.
Yeah, that's sort of an unavoidable.
If you're going to have more, you're going to have more, and it's just going to be unavoidable. Like, I don't think table solves this at all.
If the point of cleaning the bloat up was the point, I don't think they did it.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Well, it's not.
It seems like let's just take.
This isn't cleaning up bloat now, is it? Though it's about rebalancing the game.
No,
well, it's about both.
Well, no. So the thing
fixing the language is about cleaning up bloat.
Well, no, not necessarily. It's about.
But also, again, we're kind of haranguing on this for a little too long. It was just like a side opinion I had.
Well, it's not necessarily about cleaning up bloat, though. It can be about readability and understandability is the thing. Like, it might. So, like, in a situation where something might take up more space on a page and have, more words or whatever, but if the understandability of how it is designed is clearer, then sometimes you have to sort of make that trade-off. So when we're talking about cleaning up, what I'm saying is they're cleaning up wording, they're cleaning up categorizing. That doesn't necessarily mean they're trying to like shorten page length. I don't think that's a priority.
I mean, they literally made it like they gave us a spell list and then spells again, instead of just like.
And like the fact that each of the feats now have a bold thing where it says prerequisite. Is it repeatable? Does it, what ASI does it give? Here's all the ability names. That's going to make them longer than these feats are longer than the way they are worded in 5e currently. So I don't think the idea of like, we're trying to pare down page length, I don't think is the focus.
No.
Which again, it's a trade-off, but the trade-off might be worth it. Maybe. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Yet to be seen 100%, but I think that's the idea.
They could do tables in general. Like, they could literally just be like, here's all the, like they do with spells, here is all of the feats, and then you have to go
they may do a big table in the back or something.
Which would just, make it longer and more page bloat, but it would also make it so that you have a better understanding of what feats are available rather than having to flip through a book for like 10 minutes to go through all the feats, read them, be like...
It's also worth pointing out the way fighting styles are handled currently is they are reprinted in every class that gets them.
That was my point about them not saving space by making a table. Or
so if it just says
because they're
if it just says reference the feat list in every class as opposed to reprinting them in every page, like on every class, there's something to be said for that.
If they reprint them and they also keep them in the feats, I will get a little upset.
If they do if they do that, that's really stupid.
I'd be like, all right, buddy,
that's a lot of words.
You need to chill.
But all right, we can get to specific feats now.
Can we talk about Heavy Armor Master?
All right, hold on. We're gonna go down. We're gonna go through. We're gonna work our way down slowly.
But I've been staring at Heavy Armor Master.
And then 3, 2, 1. I mean, fuck.
So the first one on the list is ASI, which is now a feat. Again, it basically works the way it did before. We got the actor feat now, which got a little buff.
A little bit.
But it's still, it's fine. Although I guess, now that you get the charisma bonus, maybe you're more likely to take it,
Do you guys like the fact that they got rid of the deception thing? That it doesn't give the advantage on deception, now it only gives advantage on performance?
That did seem like a kind of a random nerf.
I do.
You like that they got rid of it?
No, I think I don't like it. Sorry.
I think it's okay. I don't know. I feel like they should have just kept it at charisma checks. I don't know. Removing deception for acting is just weird.
Yeah. It is. I did find it a little odd. I don't know what the impetus was there. I mean, it's not like the end of the world, but it is a little odd.
Like I get, performance, making sense because, you're pretending to be that, but like then you can have a DM who's like, LOL, like roll deception. And you're like, well, I'm acting.
There is a thing to point out here though. So in the rule in a. I made a note of this, and I'm trying to like quickly read my notes as I'm talking at the same time. In some of the rules glossary stuff, it does mention doing like mismatched checks, right? So, hold on, where is it? Oh God, I wish.
Are you talking about the search and study?
No.
Actions?
Not that. So, okay, here it is. So, it mentions in the jump action, which is a new thing, but it mentions in that making a strength acrobatics check. And it mentions it for something else. There's another one somewhere else in the document. I forget
yeah, but
where.
in the parentheses, it does say this or that, where in actor it says
no, it does.
Just performance.
But what I was going to say is I'm wondering if they're trying to normalize the idea of, combining skills with like non-standard stats. So if that's the case, right, if they're trying to normalize that concept, then the actor thing would make sense because you could just swap out the performance for a deception instead, potentially. If it's like charisma, whatever check. I don't know if that's the case, but
yeah, it has to be done very well because they do this a lot in Strixhaven with a lot of the mini games where they ask you like make a dexterity arcana check or make a insight, make a wisdom stealth check. They ask you this a couple times. It's like switching stats and it's very clunky, and I literally ignore the shit out of them.
What I'm saying is if you make it a baseline mechanic, then you don't write it into any of the abilities. You just make it a thing the GM adjudicates.
Mm-hmm.
Because
obviously, I mean, that's kind of what GMs do now if they're experienced enough. But like, yeah, some of them don't make sense. But some of them, again, it's DM discretion, for like Matt, you're perfectly justified in being like, yeah, the dexterity arcana check, not really what I would go for, but sure.
Yeah, if it's written into the adventure as like you have to do it this way, then sometimes it can be a little awkward. But if you just make the baseline rule that's just like GM, you can adjudicate what skill combines with what ability score, then less of a problem. Now I don't know if that's what they're going for, but they do hint. It's hinted at ever so slightly in this document. It's hinted at like twice. So maybe. So that could explain the change to the actor feat. If that's not the case, though, it does seem like a really unnecessary nerf to a feat that's like not that strong anyway.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that takes this feat now. I kind of feel it because
no,
I've taken it a few times.
Oh, really?
It's
I actually really like actor.
Oh shit. So yeah.
I mean, I don't know what use case you're getting out of it, Isaiah, but it is a pretty like meh feat, like kind of overall.
Playing characters who are liars. Paz had the actor feat, and it worked very well.
Like a liar.
You have to.
You gotta kind of. That's one of those things where like you gotta kind of force it to be good, almost like force it to come up.
Well, that's. Yeah, well, I don't know.
Playing the character to do that,
I don't necessarily hate that. I like the idea of using feats for creative things, kind of like, Observant used to let you read lips. It no longer does. Minder like. Whatever. No, not whatever. What the fuck?
I don't know. That one's the kind of thing where it's like, hey, GM, can I try to read his lips? Sure. Make a check or whatever. Like, okay, I don't feel
here's the thing. Here's the thing. My thing for feats, right? Feats should not give you like, just because you have the feat doesn't mean someone else can't theoretically do the thing your feat gives you. The feat gives you absolute, like, you can absolutely do this.
So so that's fine. The problem is that's not how most people take it. The problem is the way most people handle something like a feat of that nature is they say, oh, if the feat gives you the ability to do it, ergo not having the feat means you are incapable of doing it. That's how most people take it. So like, and that's not just for feats, that's for just abilities. And this is also not a D&D problem. This is just game design, period. Where like someone will be like, oh, can I do this thing? No, you can't do this thing because there's an ability in this other class that lets you do that thing and you don't have that ability, so you just cannot do it, period. Granted, I don't like doing it that way, and I generally try to do it the way you're talking, Isaiah. But a lot of people don't. So
the simple answer there would just you put addendums earlier in the game that say
right. Yes.
You can do these things. That
the thing
again,
is,
that's you fix, you don't throw away.
The thing is the way the game is as of right now, that's not how WotC has handled it. So at the moment they have to, because they're working under the system of if you don't have the ability that says you can do it, then you can't do it. By taking that away from the observation feat, I think the reason they're doing it is to give players permission to read lips without the feat. You know what I mean? They're like, let's just take this out so everyone can do it. Like that kind of thing.
But I think players, I know.
Yeah, that just seems like, again, you're sort of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You just
because I feel like now, because like what this feat does, it expedites it. Where it's before, it's like, hey, DM, can I try to read that guy's lips? Okay, roll a perception check. Okay, you see his lips. You study him for a minute. What languages do you know? Oh, Abyssal. Oh, he's speaking Abyssal. Meanwhile, it's the guy with the observant feet. Hey, DM, can I just see what that guy's saying over there? I speak Abyssal. Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
Perception. You see his lips.
Yeah, can I see his, can I like hone in binocular style on his juicy fat lips over there? I want to read him singing in Abyssal.
Again, yes, Matt, I agree. And I would do it that way. The problem is the game technically rules as written doesn't work that way. Right. That's where we get into the snap.
I mean, it doesn't. Here's the thing. It doesn't not work that way either. And I know that double negatives don't prove positives, but like,
right. Well, so
like
this gets into the gray space.
To say that
it's a very gray
doesn't
space.
do that.
Yes.
It doesn't state anywhere that it does. So like,
yeah, technically yes, but like. This is like a really weird, like nebulous, like design via not making a statement kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I don't think, honestly, the observant losing the reading the lips thing. I think people are just gonna do it however they do it, and you can't. Like, I almost feel like it just almost doesn't matter because people are just gonna do whatever the fuck they want with a scenario like that. With something niche like that.
So sure, okay, but maybe. But this is one of those things where again, where I say, oh my god, my train of thought just went right out the window. God damn it! Wow, I just lost a thought. Fuck!
Quick, grab it with the fishing pole. Quick,
reel
it in.
Oh. Grab it with the athlete feet.
Yeah. I mean, I literally, by the way, I have a list of every single feat and my thoughts on it.
And Isaiah hates every single one of them. This game sucks.
Look, I'm gonna be real.
Oh shit.
A lot of them don't actually have cons, but those are the ones that are so simple that are like, eh. But the fact that a lot of the pros come down to, it has an ASI now. And that's not great.
Yeah.
Like, that's, and I'm really trying, I really did try, like, okay, what are some good things? But a lot of them is like, oh, well, this already had this, so that's not a pro. Like, and based on what changed, that's the only thing I went by, and a lot of it is just ASI good. Like,
were you expecting like crazy overhauls for all of them? Because I wasn't.
No, but
same.
Like, I expected. I don't want to say I expected more. This isn't what I expected, to be honest.
Well, so,
I think they were just taking the ones from the player's handbook that weren't in the previous playtest, like Lucky and Alert.
Yeah.
And basically now just trying to update them, ?
Yeah.
Or quotations, and see how people take, like,
I mean, it's not quotations. They are updating them.
Yeah, they are. Like, changing, like, out of nowhere, changing the mobile feat to Speedster. That's a...
I don't think that was really. I don't think they were changing the mobile feed. I think they were just getting rid of the mobile feed and making a new one.
Well, no. So Speedster is literally the mobile feed, except without the op attack thing. It's the same wording and everything. They just changed the name for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah, but we can get through that.
I mean,
later.
we've been talking about changing names for a while. So
well, so I think the thing is you're gonna, the thing that you wanted, I think, is gonna come with the level 8 feats. Like, I don't think the level 4 feats, I think, are supposed to be we're making some small tweaks to the things we have, adjusting here, adjusting there, tweaking a few dials. Once we get into the level 8, level 12 area, I think is when we're going to like start, getting some fresh stuff.
Yeah, I do wish they gave us more of the higher level feats to look at.
Yeah, we're sort of lacking the necessary data here.
I kind of just look at them and go, okay, they changed them, but like I don't know how this is going to work in the future.
Exactly.
So
well, I think they're going to wait to see what people say.
They can wait to see what people say, but like it doesn't help me have an idea.
No, it doesn't help me now.
It's hard to have an idea
I know.
without the whole picture. It's hard
because like some of these right
even
now,
if they were like,
what were we gonna say?
If they were like to do heavy armor master 2, like just see how they plan on upgrading these feats, or like just give a basis idea. Like they didn't have to give like every single one of these, just like one or two, so that we have a basic understanding of how they plan to go about the game design, because this right now just means okay, we're changing things and we're giving a lot of things ASIs.
Yeah, it's like they gave a couple
keen
spells.
minds they changed to be,
way better,
actually useful.
Yeah.
Versus the only time you would take keen mind is if your DM doesn't like you. If your DM's
a poo-poo head. Yeah.
Or elemental adept, we can see that okay, maybe like elemental adept plus if they decide to go that route, or 2 or whatever. Obviously you would
get 2
more resistances. You already you can take it multiple times,
right?
So you take those 2 things and whatever, but you treat 1s and 3s instead, which would be very powerful for later spells, or upcasted spells. So there are things to do here that if I had an understanding beyond, okay, so they're planning on doing upgraded versions. What is the upgraded version? All we can do is theorize now. So I look at 2-weapon fighting or 2 dual wielder, because those are so wonderfully named. I'll never get over that. That's probably the worst one they've done. They both upgrade, so you get dual wielder plus, and dual wielder plus allows you to use the light weapons or something without the light weapon feat in your offhand, and then
I don't know why dual wielder plus sounds really funny to me.
I think plus, and I'm like, yeah,
Disney plus.
That's a Fate. Oh no, I was thinking of Fate. I was thinking of Fade.
Yeah, I mean,
sure. Or they're like, yeah, this parameter is this, but it has a bonus under these circumstances or whatever. That
everything comes back to fate.
It does. It really bothers me when I have zero understanding of what they planned, other than we're gonna do this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna do something, but we don't have specifics.
Yeah, but how are you doing it?
Yeah, that's kind of
even if they were like, oh, you need to have these prerequisites for it. Sure, whatever. I don't care. Just let me know if I can take, the upgraded feat and what it does. Even if it doesn't upgrade it doesn't give me an ASI, but it gives me a bonus to whatever. I don't know. I feel like that's the problem with this list. We're given information to look at and go, but we're not really.
We're given half the deets, so it makes it a little hard to.
So here's the thought for this, right? This is kind of the problem they had with the removing cultural things. Where, sure, they probably do have something down the road for this. But they're not giving it to us. So can they really blame us for getting mad or criticizing based on the info that we have?
I don't even.
No, you're right.
No, they can't. Me personally though, I look at it, I'm like, I can't even criticize this because I don't know what to criticize.
Yeah, the thing I'm getting at here,
other than like they've taken things away, and I'm like,
you can only compare it to what we previously had.
Yeah, I can't compare
it
to what we're going to have, or even like an idea of what we're going to have.
Right.
I guess the thing I'm looking at here is like, for you, like in response to what you were saying, is look at it with a speculative eye. And try not to make any firm judgment calls of I strongly dislike or like this thing yet. Is kind of where I'm at. Like
it's kind of hard because
like you can have like an initial reaction. Like obviously you're gonna have initial feelings, but like don't solidify your thought of like this bad yet. You know what I mean?
Well, so here's the thing, right? Like this is something that we kind of learned we learned in art school, right? Like never just throw something away, never just write it off as permanently bad. But I can say this iteration is bad.
Right. Well, that's the thing is I feel like you are writing things off as bad right now.
No, I'm like, I mean, because look, I'm not writing anything off permanently until we get, the first revision back.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that he's writing it off. I'd say he's being very dismissive of the idea of this being what we should have. It's very different. He's just saying
I don't think I'm being dismissive either, because the fact that I went through to be like, do we like, because I could have easily been like, I don't like that it does this. I don't like that it does this. But I did go out and go like, okay, this has a buff on it that I think is interesting, or this has like a positive change that I think is really good, like Skulker. It doesn't give you that weird, what the fuck did Skulker do originally? Like dim light doesn't impose disadvantage. Well, dim light isn't something that comes up very often, so who needs that?
Rarely.
It just gives you blind sight. That's really good because that cleans up the text and it makes it more interesting. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm not just being like, these feats suck and no, obviously not. But there are decisions that they're making that I disagree with, and a lot of it does come down to either I refuse to believe that it was so broken in the first place that it required the debuff that I got, or you just made them less interesting. Because like that's one of the cool things about feats, right? Not only do they give you a cool ability, but they let you do something interesting. Again, like reading lips, or maybe like learning Thieves' Cant, or one that I thought was kind of dumb is Spell Sniper only increases range of something that's over 5 feet, and it only increases it to a maximum of 60 feet.
That's not how it works. It
nope.
increases the range by 60 feet.
Oh, is that what? All right.
It's not to a max of 60 feet. It adds 60 feet.
Okay, sure. Fine. I'll give you that. But also, does it really matter if I can shoot my fucking, my Eldritch Blast at 240 feet? Most physical weapons go farther than that have range. So, like, what's the problem here? Like that's where I have to criticize.
But that's already how Spell Sniper was before. There's not any major difference there.
No. Spell Sniper doubled your range. It didn't put a cap on how much range you got.
Yeah, spells range is doubled.
Oh, well, so yeah, but the thing there is like that's good for some spell. Like doubling is better for some spells and worse for other spells. Adding 60 feet is better for some spells, worse. So like
this is a baseline buff for everything but Eldritch Blast, essentially.
Well, it's a baseline buff for anything that's not because there are more than just Eldritch Blast that go 120 feet. And the problem is like the idea of being a sniper means that you want extreme range, not longer middle range.
I just don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think another 60 feet is pretty
fair.
good.
And here's the thing. Your opinion on my criticism. It's all right.
Here's the thing is like if the spell had 30 feet range and doubling it brings it to 60-foot range, now the spell goes from 30 feet to 90 feet. Right?
That's why I was saying it's like a buff for basically
It's a buff for a lot of spells. Yeah, that's what I mean.
These spells,
because doubling is only good if your baseline number is already pretty high. Right?
I mean, I do think that the weird thing about Spell Sniper is that casting and melee is a thing instead of Warcaster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they did that so that like, you could do the crossbow expert thing, but with spells.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry. That's also an opinion I had.
I do think that I think the casting and melee should have been a Warcaster thing. Yes, it would have made Warcaster
even better,
much bigger. But I was thinking more text, but like
That too.
it makes less sense for you to be casting in melee with Spell Sniper than it does for Warcaster.
Yeah, you're literally not.
I
mean, it's like anathema to the idea of being a sniper.
It is anathema to the idea, but on the other token, are you like you're not losing anything either by having that little ability slapped on there?
No,
right?
you're not. You're not losing anything.
Sprinkles on top.
Extra. Hell, even give it to both. Like honestly,
I mean,
like if you're gonna be like that, give it to both.
Well, there's precedent for that because Spell Sniper is very similar to Sharpshooter because they very much changed Sharpshooter. And that's another critique I had, which is like, it just feels like the same spell for a different thing. And I know that was a thing previously with Great Weapon Master and Sharpshooter. And I wasn't a fan of that. So like, I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm like a fucking cage dog on a chain. I'm just ready to go off. Like
I do understand why like the firing melee and spells and melee for Sharpshooter and Spell Sniper are like, because they were basically, Sharpshooter was the physical equivalent of Spell Sniper. But again, like casting in melee, they didn't need to make them both the same. Basically word for word, except what is for spells and what isn't. Like, I don't know. I just feel that's weird.
I have no strong opinion on spells. Fuck to me, so.
I mean, I don't like even playing casters. So
that being said, Charger cool.
I mean,
Charger got a nice little buff.
Charger also giving 10 feet of extra movement does make it so
10
that
feet of
there's
movement, some bonus damage. You can throw some motherfuckers around. It's pretty good. I like Charger.
You can add more speed to that fucking massive speed boost that the backseat can do. Because, wait, hold on. I have to read this because if it doesn't say once
there's also
per turn,
or
once per dash.
A little bit of a buff to athlete, but like, I don't know, whatever. Athlete's athlete.
When you take the dash action, your speed increases. Rogues can dash twice.
Yes.
3 times. That means that there's.
Yes.
I don't know. Oh my god. Tabaxi Rogue go very fast. Very, very fast.
Yeah. So, thoughts on Charger? You get a climbing speed. That's really cool. That's fantastic, and I love that. Because it makes a lot of things really simple.
Didn't even notice that.
The hop up, that's the same. That's
you're talking about athlete. I was like, what?
Yeah, because you talked about athlete for 2 seconds.
He said no. You said Charger there, and my brain was like,
Charger.
My bad.
I started reading the Charger feet. I'm like, where is it? Where is the climbing speed? How does that make sense?
Charger feet.
So they give you advantage on jumping, which is good, but I'm confused why they took away the short jump thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that doesn't. That's a con, sort of. But that one's not really a con to me. That's just a question. That's like, why did you do that? That didn't really seem necessary.
Well, how do they
change?
Because
jumping's now just a whole action.
Yeah,
it's
so
like
jumping's
a whole separate thing now.
It's an action because I think the problem they're running into is they don't know what to do with jumping. Because jumping as it is currently is honestly confusing.
There's so many times where I'm like, all right, Matt, I gotta jump. What do I do? Fuck me.
Does jumping actually take up your action to do?
No, I think it's movement.
It's an action.
It's an action.
Is it? Oh shit!
It is an action.
I'm fucking it up.
That's a greater problem.
But the thing is, it's way better now, and you could jump way farther, and it's more reliable and easier to understand.
And if you jump 5 feet, it's just considered difficult terrain.
Yeah.
As well. They've also made that little caveat.
They made it an action, but they buffed the shit out of it. So now it kind of works like it did in Baldur's Gate, which is an interesting thing a lot of people have noticed, is that they seem to be taking some keys from Baldur's Gate. I don't know, making it an action, I don't know, because at the same time, it's like, how often are you really jumping around in a fight? Not that often.
I mean, but it makes sense.
And it also doesn't use your speed like it used to. So, like, if you're using it to run away.
Right, you can run away. Yeah, that's the thing, is it doesn't use your speed now. So that's what I mean. So, like, you got a huge buff.
Maybe, for me, I feel like maybe it should just be a universal bonus then. Because taking your full action, That's a lot that they're taking from you. Like,
yeah, but it makes sense, like thematically, like
It
jumping.
kinda
Like,
does.
it takes effort. It takes like,
Sorry, I just thought of like the worst comparison to use on it. Making jump in action is like making you use your normal summon for a bad card in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like,
Well, so
I summon Celtic Warrior in defense mode.
I love that card. Fuck off.
yeah, so it's like,
it's not even angry Celtic Warrior.
yeah,
Or is it obnoxious? It's obnoxious.
Yeah.
Obnoxious, enraged battle axe photoshops in some eyebrows.
yeah,
real
you know,
quick.
like I get it. Yes, it is annoying. So like okay, think about it this way, right? In a fight scenario, having to burn your action on a jump could suck balls. But in an out of fight scenario, it makes a lot of sense from a design standpoint to be like, this is an action, which means things that interact with actions will interact with this the way they interact with all the other actions. It's more clear now. You can jump farther. It gets a buff from like if you roll good, you get to go, you jump farther. So it's like, you know, on one hand, it's
Jump
like, yeah,
good.
I don't know. You have to give up your action, but also if you're committing to a jump, there's probably a reason. It's probably pretty worth it. Jumping as
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Jumping as it currently stands in the game is a fucking mess and is annoying.
Look, I'm not going to say it's not a mess, because it is a mess. But here's my big counter for that. If you're in a fight, I'm willing to bet you, based on the way the jump works now, most people aren't going to use it. They're just going to attack at whatever debuff they have, because that's what people do now.
I don't think anyone was jumping in a fight anyway, though. That's the thing.
No, but people also aren't dodging in a fight because they're like, what the fuck is the point? I'd rather just hit somebody and kill the guy faster. Right? Like,
the dodge is really the dodge action is actually the skip turn action.
It is, yes. Well, that's the problem, right? Is it's like, why would I not get hit when I can just hit them? Right? Like, that's why the dodge gets used constantly as a bonus, but almost never as a main.
Well, yeah, but this also
what you would want to incentivize in a combat scenario is to do things that isn't hitting things,
right?
Or isn't just hitting things. You want to encourage movement in the fight. Giving enemies just natural abilities that have them move around the map is better than everything just standing there and everyone stares at a still screen that might change 10 feet per token twice around.
You're not wrong. The problem is this goes deeper than just an action, right? The problem is the way the game was designed, you know, as is that
it's better to hit things
they
than
didn't
anything else.
Well, they didn't the problem is we only have two choices. We have action and bonus action, right? Making jump use your bonus action the way it is now, right, in this playtest, feels like that would probably be too much. Making it an action, though, also doesn't feel right, but we don't have any other options because the way they designed the game was they designed the entire game around basically you have an action and a movement, and then occasionally, really, I think the original design philosophy was we want you to use a bonus action occasionally. That's why it's called bonus, right? What ended up happening was people really liked the idea of a bonus action and use it often, and so they started giving more and more class abilities and such bonus actions. So now bonus action is not really so much a bonus, really it's an action and a minor action is really what it is.
I guess that is why a lot of classes feel like they don't have anything to do other than their action.
Yes, exactly.
Because they went so hard into classes being able to do actions and bonus actions, and then other classes just don't have that. Like Warlock being like, yeah, I cast Eldritch Blast.
Well, that's exactly why I'm saying that they should have.
They pared down so much to the point where it's like action. You do a thing. That's sweet. You do it one thing per turn is basically what they pared down to.
Yeah. This could have been the perfect chance for them to start with things like universal bonuses.
Maybe. Yeah. What? Like, yeah, I don't know. The problem is I think they're scared to. I think they don't.
I mean, they definitely are.
They don't want to go in the. I think they're worried about going in the like I have 800 things to do on my turn scenario, you know?
Yes, there are some things that just don't make sense to be an action though, like influence.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%.
The help action is,
it depends.
Aptly named help action.
Well, the thing is too is like this is the other problem, right? Certain actions with a lowercase a, certain actions you could potentially that you could potentially do in a fight, they could take 6 seconds, but they also could take 2 seconds, kind of depending on how you do them, right? Like, let's just say, because let's just take a jump, right? A jump could take you 6 seconds if you're kind of winding up, you run 5 feet, you jump over the fucking river or whatever. But a jump could also take you 2 seconds if you're just hopping over a log. You know, so like that's the other problem.
Here's my thing. You know, say what you will about 4th edition, but I did like the fact that there is action, bonus action, movement action.
Yeah.
They could honestly just add the movement action back in.
Yeah, they
could
make
things have movement actions, and then
things be
a movement action.
Yeah, that's what Star Wars did.
Climbing might be moving, right? like just things having
the tag movement action.
Just make a new tag and then do that, because like honestly, it is kind of annoying that it's like. I don't agree that a jump should be an action because again, you know, it goes with your movement, but like they did clarify that it doesn't use your movement,
right?
So
you can jump and then keep running.
Yeah, you can jump and then keep running.
Which you can't do currently.
But you could just like the math doesn't work out unless there's, you know, a gap. Like you could just take the dash action if you wanted to do that.
Yes,
but. And then like, because you can't exceed your speed, which, you know, means that you could theoretically get the dash action out of it, but like you have to roll for it. But again, you know, I do think we should go back to things like, you know, movement action, have just like, it's an extra system.
A rework of the action system.
Well, so
in general.
And before we move on to Charger, this is kind of the same discussion Matt and I had. And I think the 4 of us had, right? Where it's like, you don't want to add too many buttons. Well, it's like, well, yeah,
you want to have the right amount of buttons.
There's a sweet spot of buttons.
So specifically, we're talking about the weapon options for Midgard, right? Where it's like, well, you don't want to hit them with too many buttons, and it's like, wow, I went from 1 button to 2 whole buttons. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, some people do find that crazy, and it's kind of sad, but
it is, right? But like, we should not be catering the game. I hate to say it like this, but to those people. Because
that's the
and we're canceled. Thanks everybody for coming out here. Have a good night.
The fact of the matter is, like, there is a tactical aspect to the game,
but this is
a combat-oriented game, so you can't take the tactics out of it.
Right. So I do not fully disagree with you. I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with that. But the problem with not catering to one section means you cater to the other, which means that you push all those people out. That's how that ends up working.
My argument was going to be that when they were designing 5th edition originally, after the debacle that was 4th edition, they kind of were trying to cater to those people. That was the point, right? They wanted to cater to those people that think 2 actions,
which is why people
they wanted to cater to the people who think 2 options is too many, right? Like,
but
that's the thing.
I'm almost willing to argue that people like that, they want more things to do, but they don't know it, right? Like, how many times if you run a game for somebody and they're like, oh, well, I want to attack, obviously, and you're like, okay, cool, roll your attack, you do the thing, and they're like, is there anything else I can do? I want to go like talk to this guy, or I want to like tell him to stop fighting, and you're like, no, well, you can't do that because that would have been your action. It's like, well, what is this bonus action thing? You're like, you don't get those, that's not for you.
You're
right?
not a rogue.
Yeah, so like I'm willing to maybe some people will disagree with you, but my crackpot theory is more people do want more options. They just don't want the options thrown to them in a fucking bizarre, weirdly like convoluted way.
Well, that's
part of what we're doing
all
here,
at once.
All at once.
It's like
Matt said the secret. They don't want it all at once. That's the thing. Yeah. Right? Think about video games, right? This is really where we can take a good lesson. Is the problem is not necessarily that people don't want to have a lot of things to do. I think you're correct, Isaiah, that a lot of players do want to have multiple options. But when you're first starting the game, you want to have minimal choices so you can ease your way in. You know, when you first start Elden Ring, you don't want 36 different sword options. You want one, maybe you pick up a second one along the way, and you use that for a good 5 hours until you beat Godfrey, and then you start finding more weapons.
kind of, sort of, right? Like, that's where the really cool thing about new players comes in, because they will just say and ask for fucking anything because they don't really know what they can.
Well, in a tabletop context, yes, there is that side of it. But from the just talking about the mechanics as they are on paper, I think the thing that would help is you start with less options and your options grow as you go, which is kind of what we're gonna get with the feats being reworked. So I don't know, maybe when you're level 1 to 3, you don't get bonus actions, and level 3 you unlock bonus actions. Like, I don't know.
I'm gonna be real.
I know that sounds
in
crazy.
This hypothetical universe.
No, I think that would be more confusing.
I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just saying, like, something weird
I get
like
a
that.
subclass and a bonus action.
In this hypothetical universe that you've just like propositioned to me,
too many options.
If somebody was like, "Hey, I want to run a new campaign," I'm like, "Awesome," and they're like, "Okay, so it's gonna be 1 to," I'm like, "Nope, I'm already out." And they're like, "What do you mean you're out?" I'm like, "I'm not doing level 1 to 3. I'm not doing that. That's not happening."
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. We're talking about if you're a new player, right? Not presuming that you already know how to play. We're talking about when you're coming in as a fresh player and you don't have that understanding, then starting at level 1 sounds perfectly reasonable. And the designers themselves have said, if you know how to play the game, don't start at level 1. They've said it a million times.
Sure, but
so
you're under the assumption that you only have teams of veterans or teams of newbies, where realistically you have a mix a lot of the time.
You do have a mix, but I'm talking about the onboarding experience. Yes, you do have a mix, but from an onboarding standpoint, I think the problem is they went, okay, too many options bogs down new players. They don't know what to do. So instead, we're gonna soak everything in, focus everything down the hall. We're gonna give the players not a ton of options. We're gonna give them one action, and we're just gonna stay in that lane because otherwise they get overwhelmed. Whereas what I think what you said, what ends up happening is new players start playing, and then they start being like, well, can I do something else? And then your response has to be no. Whereas if there was some sort of onboarding design where it starts simpler and then grows out, then you could do something later down the road. That's all I'm talking about. The idea of like having a mix of old and new players and who wants what and all that is like, that's not like, I'm just talking about this idea of the onboarding, which all spread from using an action for a jump is too much, but because the game only really gives you that one option of action or bonus, we're in kind of a tight spot. You know, like,
maybe, I don't know.
I'm trying to give you your cake and eat it too here, Chief.
I mean, you sort of are, but not really. But anyway,
I am though. No, I am, because I'm saying, because my point is, because there is an argument to be made that having things be more simple helps with new player onboarding, right? That is a true statement, which is part of the success of why 5e is doing so well. Yes, Matt?
No, I was just saying, hi, me.
Yeah. Right? That is an absolutely true thing. But it is also true that after you've played for a little while, you start to want more stuff. Right?
Yes. Okay. So this is all I want to say before we move on to Charger, because we've been on Actor for about 20 minutes now.
I mean, we're not talking about Actor at all at this point, but yeah.
I mean, but
we've been
haven't touched on it or whatever.
so much.
But
we've been in the weird nebulous area.
Yes. All I will say, my last point on this will be, don't remove options for veterans, just make them optional for newbies.
That's what I'm saying. That's what that new player onboarding would be. Start with less, grow into more.
Well, no. What I'm saying is start with all of it. Let beginners know they don't got to use anything.
But you can already do that by just starting at a higher level, right? Like, if they locked things behind levels, then veteran players would just start at higher levels, which is kind of what they'd already do anyway.
Yeah, except if you're stuck with a group of newbies, I don't want to get punished.
Well, if you're stuck with a group of newbies, you have to make the concession that you're playing with a bunch of newbies, and you have to make a compromise. Either you accept the compromise of playing with new players, or you don't play with new players. Like, that's a different thing.
The compromise is that new players, if they want to get super into it, can get into the nitty gritty. This is the same thing with the Midgard hero stuff.
Yeah,
put the weapon options on the table. Say, here they are. These are for you to use. Don't use them. I don't give a shit. But they're there. So people, like me, like other tactical players, who can go, oh, cool. So I'm just going to use these all the fucking time then. And the GM goes, all right, cool.
I don't know if that's really. I don't know if that's doable to be like, here's all these options. If you want to use them, you can. If not, don't. And like, then the new player sitting at the table of old love, like, the veteran player is sitting with all the new players doing a bunch of crazy shit while the new players are sitting there not sure what to do. I don't know if that's a better scenario. I think everyone's either on the level or everyone's like, you got to all be within the same zone of complexity. I don't think it's fair that the veteran player gets to play with the more complicated toys just because they know what they're doing. You know?
That's literally what, like, how I don't see why not, right? Because what that does is that creates a healthy amount of FOMO where the newbie goes, wait, how did you just do that? And you go, oh, well, use this as your bonus action because that lets you do this. Or
it creates a healthy amount of jealousy and fuck it, this game sucks, I'm out.
I mean,
it could go either way. That's the problem. It could go the way you described, but it could go the other way.
I'm going to be honest. I think treating players different based on their skill level is the inappropriate way to go about it.
Yeah.
I think everything should just be available. I don't think that limiting newbies is anything. I think that newbies should be given a healthy amount of help from their DM to understand what they're playing, to understand how to build a character and all of this. I don't, and like, I'm not coming out of here and like being like, you know, anti whatever or aggressive. I think that separating players into categories is how you end up with people doing it themselves and then starting groups and hating other people. This is what happens with video games where we have the competitive esports crowd versus the casual crowd, and then the game caters to the esports players, and then the games usually turn to like dead player bases with only the people that are in the top of the top playing. So like it's just, I've seen this kind of mentality happen before, and it's just not, it usually ends in disaster.
Yes. Well, so look, yes, I understand. I'm not saying to limit anything for anybody. What I'm saying is you put them on the table, and if players don't want to use them, right? Like I have players in my game who don't play a lot, and they don't use the more complex stuff because they don't want to. It's too complicated for them. That's fine. They don't have to. And I've never made a single encounter that banks on a complex mechanic because that's a dickhead thing to do. I wouldn't do that to anybody, and you shouldn't. But much like the weapon rules, you put them on the tables for the people who want to use them. So I'm not saying limit anything for anybody. I'm saying make these things available to everybody, but, you know, make the system available so that new players who don't want to don't have to, but they're still there.
I have more counter to this, but I'm gonna move it on.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's just what feats are for.
I do. Yeah,
I like
yes,
the new
correct.
durable feat.
We're not even there, Matt. We're a crossbow expert.
Bro,
We're not even there. We're at Charger.
I don't even know where the
Charger cool. Whatever. Moving on from Charger.
Charger. Pro, increased movement. That's really good. It cleaned up the language. That's really good. It technically is stronger than it used to be because you can uppercut someone. You can push someone in any direction, including up, which is great.
It's actually a lot stronger than it used to be because I don't think it even gave that bonus. I don't think it gave that much bonus damage before either.
No, it didn't at all. So crossbow,
just the extra 10 feet for dash action means that Tabaxi go very fast.
Yeah,
crossbow expert, whatever. It's
I remember hearing people complain that they nerfed this somehow. I could be wrong.
Expert, fool, actually, crossbow expert. They did.
They changed the dual wielding from like hand crossbows to light weapon property, which means that you can have a proper weapon in one hand and then a shooty one in the other. I think that's what they changed.
Wait, hold on.
Let me
could you not dual wield?
Aren't hand crossbows light?
No. It does specifically state a crossbow that has the light property. So basically, they didn't really change anything. They just kind of reworded it, and they're using their new jargon, which is fine.
Yeah. Well, so no. So when you make the extra attack of the light weapon property, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the extra attack if that attack is with a crossbow that has the light property. It before said when you use the attack action and attack with a one-handed weapon, you can use the bonus action to attack with a hand crossbow you were holding. It did not say anything about adding the ability modifier.
Isn't that a buff?
That's a buff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
what the fuck?
if you attack with a if you attack with a weapon and then you make the extra attack with the new 2 weapon fighting rules, whatever, I don't care. Light weapon property, because it's a crossbow. You're using a hand crossbow, because a regular crossbow is a fucking 2-handed weapon.
Yes.
If you do that, you get to just add the ability modifier to the damage now, because before you didn't. You had to take the 2 weapon fighting style to do that. Now you don't have to do that. So this is a buff.
Yeah,
this is absolutely a buff.
It's good. Defensive duelist, nothing changed. Literally nothing, except for the dexterity 13
I guess
plus.
Isaiah's
Crossbow Experts is better. Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Like, it even gives you an ASI.
It does.
Are people complaining about this?
I don't know. I don't know what Matt's referring to.
I think it was something where I think concerned people who build hand crossbows. I think it was you can dual wield normal crossbows originally.
No,
I could be wrong.
No, you can't, because it specifically says hand crossbow and crossbow expert.
Yeah.
Well, I think
no.
Use the attack action with a one-handed weapon. You can use a bonus action to attack with a hand cross. That's in the old one.
So basically, it's limiting you to light, where you could theoretically make an attack with a longsword or a battle axe, and then still make that crossbow attack. Now they're limiting you to a dagger.
I could be wrong.
No. When you make the extra attack of the light weapon property, you do not need to be wielding a light weapon in your main hand for your main attack to do this.
No, you do, because of how the light weapon property is worded in this playtest.
What?
Yeah.
They changed that.
So no, they didn't.
Do we want to just go over that real quick?
They didn't change. They didn't really change. Okay. Yeah. So because of the way light weapon property is worded, you do have to have a light weapon. Essentially, you have to have a light weapon in both hands, but that's literally always been the rule. That's not new. It's not at all new.
It's just a short sword.
Yes, also a short sword is a simple weapon. The light weapon property is literally the exact same thing as the 2 weapon fighting.
Okay, but here's the thing though. Like, if you're, I get it. I understand. People are like, because melee and then crossbow, but like most people, the people that are cool, that took crossbow expert, they use 2-hand crossbows.
Yeah. I guess the nerf is it's some very specific scenario where
it's quite literally if you're using a melee weapon,
with a
hand crossbow. Like, yeah, okay, sure, I understand. However, you get an ASI. You now
you
just
can still
add
use
the
like
ability.
a short sword and a crossbow though.
Yeah, and you also use like add the ability modifier. I think
it's barely a nerf. Like,
it's barely a nerf.
It's really not even.
It's the 2 maximum damage, but also you get your ability modifier, and you don't have to take the 2 weapon fighting feat.
Yeah.
Like, you're technically because of the way that this is done, you gain a feat.
Basically, people are mad that they can't use a long sword and a hand crossbow is really all that is, which is like barely what the fuck ever. Come on.
I mean,
defensive.
I think if you're fighting with the hand crossbow, I like,
just use a short sword. It's
just use a short sword. I don't know. I don't think that long sword and hand crossbow go together in my brain. So whatever.
Stat wise, they don't. But
yeah.
That being said,
defensive duel.
Moving on to the thing that got me fucking heated, and we already talked about this. We can't really talk about it much, but dual wielder. So pros, ASI good. That's kind of as far as it goes for me. Because again, they removed the +1 of the AC, which I think mattered a lot for not the optimization, but like the incentive to dual wield. But also, I don't like that they're putting the caveat of you need a light weapon and 1 non-light weapon. Like, there's really big fiction for dual wielding longswords, so to like actively fight against that fiction doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And yes, you could argue, you can flavor it however you want, but that's not really the point.
I think it's a balanced decision.
But I want to play Dritz.
I think it's a balance. Yes, you want to play Dritz, and I get it. But I think it's a balanced decision because of the way the light weapon property now functions and the whole not using your bonus action situation. They sort of took away.
Not using bonus actions is pretty strong with how classes have become with bonus actions.
Yeah.
Yes. On a larger note, my biggest gripe with dual wielder the way it is now is, in my opinion, enhanced dual wielding should just be a thing. right? Like the fiction of rapier and dagger is very strong. So the fact that I need a feat to do that is kind of dumb. It should, in my opinion, it should just be normal weapon, light weapon. So like that, but that's a whole different gripe.
I mean, yes, I know what you're saying. You're saying the default rule for the light weapon situation should be I can have a long sword and a dagger, and then if I take the dual wielder feat, I can have 2 long swords.
Yes, that's it. In my perfect world, that makes sense to me.
I think again, though. I think it's just.
I don't know.
I think the math won out in this situation. Unfortunately,
I think the dual wielder being the feat that you have to take to do normal weapon and light weapon makes sense to me because it is an entirely different fighting style.
It also sounds a lot more complicated in real life, like to be able to I
mean, like your rapier parrying dagger, like is a thing that people train in.
Yeah,
like,
it's
not. But it's very different from like, oh, I have 2 knives, I go stab, or stab, cut.
So yes, but if we're bringing in like realism, training with a shield is also very intensive and very difficult. Like a shield is not easy to use. You can Dark Souls it where you just put yourself in front of the shield like a dumbass, but that's not really how it should be done, right? So like,
I am the wall.
So yeah, I see what you're saying, Sam. I just feel like, and
I agree.
Maybe it was a balancing thing, but we need physical fighters to be stronger to close the spellcaster martial fighter gap. So.
Yeah, I guess.
That's my TED talk. Moving on to durable.
Apparently, Isaiah's in charge now.
I am. I've taken control. The Feats was the thing I was the most hype about.
Yeah, I really like the durable. I really like the new durable.
I like advantage on death save.
Yes, durable.
Yeah, advantage on death saves. The speedy recovery feature has been something that I honestly thought that they were just going to have this be a feature because they mentioned they wanted to play with hit dice.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a feature that certain classes were going to get in general.
You know what's crazy, Matt? This was a feature in 4E. This was a base ability that everyone could use. Yeah. This was just a mechanic.
It
was called a healing surge.
Yeah, I was gonna say, everybody had second wind.
It's literally the only gripe I had for this one was why it literally says why not normal feature.
Yeah, literally every character could do a healing surge in 4E, and it was just the fighter's second wind ability. Or this.
It is a little weird that it also has the prerequisite of Constitution 13.
Yeah, that was.
I think that's also like I understand why, but like I think it should just be something that everybody could take.
I agree.
I guess they just wanted to try and limit it.
Wizards. Yeah, they do, but like...
And plus, if you're a wizard, con's your second, like, best stat that you got to bump. Because you're like, dexterity, nah,
fuck that shit.
Yeah, but if you roll stats and you get terrible...
It should 100% be dex if you're talking meta.
All I need is int and health. That's it, baby.
No, incorrect. But anyways, like, I...
Dump all the others.
Yeah, dump whiz. The wizard dumps whiz. Haha. Funny joke.
You do the 3 15s, 3 8s on a wizard, you're fine. You're golden. Golden guy.
Let's see. Elemental Adept. So it ignores resistance now, which is pretty cool.
Which is cool.
I like that.
Yeah, that's right.
I for con, I just have not applicable. I don't think there's any cons to this. I think it's great. In all fairness, I'm not
even gonna look at.
I read them, but I didn't make anything for them.
Honestly,
I think they're the same.
I'm gonna keep it Unreal Engine 5 with y'all too. I don't give a fuck about the epic boost.
Right, because even wizards know by bumping shit to 18th level, you're like, all right, your Paragon class level thing is at 18th level. And it's like, wow, 18th level. Well, I guess I could go to 20. Or I can multi-class, and that's literally every fucking person's gonna do.
I don't think they've realized that by making the capstone ability, you're just gonna incentivize so many people to play fighter for just to get action surge. It's gonna get really dangerous.
I'm not gonna lie. I really hope action surge gets bumped higher level. I'm one of those people. No. It's got to get bumped up. It's
I don't think so at all.
It's too strong at level 2.
No.
What in the fuck?
Wait. Level 2 characters are like so fucking weak. I don't think that action surge is a bad thing to have at lower levels, especially because fighters have fuck all.
I think what
It
Matt's
is literally their only thing.
I think what Matt's
Like,
trying to say
unless-
though is in the multi-class scenario, it's gonna be it's gonna be too enticing to just 2-level dip fighter on everything. Is what Matt's getting at.
I understand that. However, unless they make maneuvers a low-level thing, like you start getting maneuvers at level 1, which is honestly what fighters should be having.
Yeah.
Like they shouldn't take action surge away. Like again, we're playing with.
No, I'm not saying take it away. I'm just saying.
No, Matt's saying put it at level 3.
Honestly,
no, he said low levels. He didn't. He didn't
not low level.
1 to 3.
To be honest, I kind of agree with. I think it's. I forgot the YouTuber's name. 6. Bump it up to 6.
Whoa!
You get extra attack at 5th level.
Motherfucking
Action
no.
surge
That's
at
a
level
little
6.
too high, man. Relax.
So, Matt, think about it this way, though. If you were to do that, you'd be fucking a lot of mid-level GMs really hard. Because the fighter then goes from 1 attack to 4 in 2 levels. That's crazy.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. You're literally, your argument is constantly, make things easier on the GM. You would actively be fucking GMs with that.
That's level 6.
heard
By
him
then, I
shrug.
can throw some nonsense at them and it'll be fine. Don't worry.
No, because then you'd be tailoring fights to the fighter, which you shouldn't do.
No, that's not what
Matt, I understand your logic of bumping it beyond 2. 6 is too high.
I would like.
Well, it's mostly, I guess, the
4.
math, because like you don't want to leave extra. You don't want to move extra attack because at level 5 is pretty good. Level 4 is a feat, so it's like where else do you want? Could you move it?
3rd and 4th.
You could, you don't have to have.
Stop. 4
what is
with
this?
We already have classes getting things with feats.
Yeah. What is
like,
this
Rogue
weird
already
rule
does
that
it.
it's like only one ability on a level? Like you could just put 2 things on 1 level.
Right, but like normally, I don't think things get a feat and like a class thing, right?
Oh,
I
on
don't
both
know.
contraire.
but who the fuck cares?
Barbarian.
Really? Or am I?
Rogue.
Yeah, I'm like
Barbarian. I think fighter does it right now.
It might, but even if it doesn't, who the fuck cares? Just let it happen. Like that doesn't seem like a big deal to me.
They shrug.
Let's see. Fighting styles, we talked about that for 20 minutes earlier, so
We did.
there's no point talking about it again. Grappler.
Just that.
Grappler just got better. It just got better.
Well, so
Yes and no?
So yes, but the grapple changes. This is a tricky one. I think we're gonna have to see where this one goes because grappler got better, but because of the way the grapple condition works, I would need to compare and contrast.
In the last playtest, again, this is paraphrasing my buddy Joe. Basically, in the last playtest, you can basically like grapple somebody, shove them, move. Like you basically, if you grappled somebody, you just win. You just win the game.
I mean, that's not true.
That's not true at
Well,
all.
with the
'cause you get
last playtest rules.
Well,
No, because you get
not
the
even then
slowed
because you got the
condition.
slowed condition, which fucked you.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing about grappled now is, and this is like definitely in favor of grappler being very good. If you're grappled, you have disadvantage on attack rolls towards anyone but
the grapple. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So yeah, you have
And which
disadvantage
makes a
on
lot of
anyone.
sense.
So you have disadvantage on anyone who's grappling you, but because the person. Oh wait, but that's right. So the grappler feat removes the slowed condition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess the grappler feat is quite
yeah.
good now. Yeah.
Yes,
But
grappler is much
grappling-
better because it helps with.
Yeah.
It just it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this is an okay mechanic, but like doing this, like taking this feat, makes the mechanic just better.
Yeah.
Which is why that's how I kind of feel about dual wielder.
Makes it so you take advantage against anyone attacking you.
Yeah,
So
and,
that's
and
a
here's the
little,
zinger, right? The grappler gives you carte blanche advantage, and so they removed restrained, which fine. Like it sucks that you can't you're not literally restraining your opponent anymore, but you're also not restrained. So grappler more often than not actually kind of fucked the user back in the as it is now.
It could.
Yeah.
So the fact that now you get creatures like attack and grapple as opposed to doing damage. Oh no, sorry. Right with this, you can damage and grapple as part of one thing. That's
Monks
amazing.
Can now monks can now grapple properly because unarmed strike just makes you able to grapple something, and you gain advantage on attacks against grappled creatures. It makes it so that you don't have to take the action to try to grapple something, and then you waste your action. and you're not float. So like it gives monk and I guess fist fighting fighters, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
It makes them better, or fist fighting barbarian. It doesn't matter.
So
like who's fist fighting? If fist fighting anything, it just makes them better.
It also, the cool thing here is it does not say you attempt to grapple. It says you grapple. So it's an auto success on the grapple.
Yeah.
Which is very good. I have nothing bad to say about that. This is great. I love this.
This is a good change.
Great Weapon Master.
Here we go. Me and Isaiah are going to argue again.
I see no pros to this. I'm going to be real. I don't see any. There's none.
I'm sorry. Cleave is great.
Cleave is great, but we already had that.
Yeah.
Well, do you?
That was pre-existing, so I don't count that as a pro.
Was that part of Great Weapon Master? I don't remember it being.
It never comes up because everyone only cares about that fucking +10. But yeah, it was actually.
Right. Well, I have a game theory that the whole -5 +10 is going to be like an optional rule.
Yeah.
Oh, it fucking better not be.
I don't think it's
-5. Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be an
+10.
optional rule. I think it's going to be like the level 8 version of Great Weapon.
Maybe,
yeah.
But again, until I see it, don't exist.
And Isaiah, I'll give you one really easy pro: consistency.
Fuck consistency.
No, sorry.
Some people want more consistent damage.
Consistency good.
Well, okay. +10, you can't get more consistent than +10.
But the +10 isn't consistent because of the -5 to hit, whereas you now don't have to take that -5 to hit.
Sure, but this is the whole thing on rolling your hit dice. That's part of the gamble.
It is.
And you can Great Weapon Master that's one of those. I feel like I call it like a complex feat, right? Because a lot of people who take Great Weapon Master are doing things in the background to minimize that -5 as much as possible. So the gamble is sort of
the problem. The fact that you could minimize it is the problem with the feat, because it was so easy to negate, not totally negate, but basically minimize the effect of that -5 that you basically were getting a free +10 damage. It was so easy to just go, LOL, fuck you.
Here's another thing. It's not once per turn on current Great Weapon Master.
Yeah, I don't think it should be.
I think a lot of things should be. When you look at a fighter and you say, hey, Great Weapon Master, and then they can guarantee that the -5, it's +30 damage, action surge +40, they don't give a shit. It
was too good. It was
the
problem is the feat was so good, Isaiah, that it was literally a no-brainer pick.
It was mandatory.
Sure.
It was damn near mandatory.
Again, though, this helps close the disparity. Unfortunately, no, it's not. You need big numbers.
It's not a good way to do it.
What else would you have people do?
The disparity, the caster. The thing is, I think you're focusing too much. The caster martial disparity isn't really about damage. That's a portion of it. There are some spells that are wildly off the damage curve, sure. But the real problem with the caster martial disparity is the fact that wizards can affect time and alter dimensions and cross the planes and fight or hit thing good.
No, I'm aware of those things, but what I'm saying is that marshals need victories where they can get them.
Yeah, but
because there's literally nothing you can do past a certain point.
Giving them a feat that's basically a mandatory pick to make their damage better that's not fun. That's not helping the problem.
The fun is the gamble.
It's not that much of a gamble. That's the thing.
Okay, all right. Let's step away from caster, fighter, martial. There we go. There's the word. It gives martial a large bonus to when they do things, and that's cool and all. However, they're looking at this from a game balance standpoint, and they want to make feats more usable.
Yeah, they want more feats to be usable, and for there not to be a brain dead obvious pick.
I'm going back to my experience with video games. It's when you make something just so much better than everything else and everybody's picking it, it makes the game kind of fucking boring.
Yeah.
You reduce options by doing that. It's not if you're gonna make Great Weapon Master that good, you should make everything
Great
good.
Weapon Master and Sharpshooter have become memes because they're just always picked. Like,
sure, but so has Warcaster, and Warcaster got no debuffs in this.
Yeah, Warcaster just got a buff.
Like, Warcaster is another one that, I think probably should have gotten some attention. I thought it was kind of weird that it didn't, but
I feel like it didn't need the +1.
Well, it's because they're giving them all the +1s at 4, so they they were like, well, we have to.
I know, but
we can't just choose one and randomly not give it this stat boost.
If you're gonna give Warcaster the +1, then I don't know, remove one of the other abilities, because otherwise now it's a dead no-brainer. Like, I have to pick this.
I think
already it was I have to pick this on caster.
I think that a lot of feats should be at the same power level.
I think part of the problem with
making some super powerful and then end up being no-brainer picks, because then you just have a meta that is the same shit.
I think the problem
and they haven't really changed anything.
Warcaster specifically is Warcaster is really good because of how all of its components interplay with each other. So if you take one of them out, it plummets in its goodness, right? Because it's let's say, okay, you take away the somatic component part. It's well, that would probably be the easiest one to take, I suppose, because you still have reactive spell and concentration. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I
know, it's
I have to sit down and really think about it, but the problem...
Yeah, you have to sit down. Well, I've been thinking about it, and the only thing I can think of is, if they're going to do feat trees, or if they're going to do 8th level spells, or 8th spells, holy shit, 8th level feats, move this to an 8th level feat. If you want it, because this is maybe. Every game I've ever played in, someone takes, if not me, someone takes Warcaster.
No, again,
and now this is just giving me even more of an incentive, like Barbarian, or I have to pick the Totem Bear Barbarian, because fucking why wouldn't I? This forces me now to only pick Warcaster.
Well, that's the problem that we're talking about. It's not. I don't think that Warcaster should be better. I think that everything should be at a similar playing field, rather than many of them being you don't always have to take lucky, but if you want to do certain builds, you're taking fucking
it's all right, but then why didn't they do that with all the... That's why I'm saying, some of the feats they did that, some of them they didn't, and it's
that's what I'm saying.
The fuck?
Here comes this another speculative thing here, but it could just be a case of they just didn't get around to it yet.
It's possible. The one where they put it on the list.
Are we done with all the feats?
Well,
yeah, sure.
Because they wanted to show you what 4th level feats would look like, and they didn't. Maybe they're still playtesting a bunch of shit with Warcaster, and they were maybe if they didn't put it on the list, people might think it was gone, and then be a whole thing. There's a lot of it could just not be done yet. I don't know. The thing with I don't know, Warcaster bothers me less than Great Weapon Master for whatever reason. I don't really know why. I think it's because my thing with Great Weapon Master and Sharpshooter is that people are literally just picking them for the sole purpose of damage number go burr. And
wait, did they buff Sentinel?
No, they adjusted it very slightly.
They gave it an ASI, and then they
did give it an ASI, but they
text box into one. They made 2 text boxes into one. That's all they did.
Yeah, they made it so that you can't do the Sentinel Polearm Master combo really anymore.
Because they said 5 feet, but
it has some it has something to do with the wording of if I think the thing was
immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you takes the disengage action. So Polearm Master,
right? No, so what
essentially got reach.
What it is right now is that if something comes within 5 feet of you or leaves, I think, and then the change was only
that's normal.
No, I'm talking about currently, Sam, not the playtest.
Yeah, no, I'm reading the current one.
Well, okay, so what's the wording on the current one?
Creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you even if they take the disengage action before leaving your reach.
Right, and then what is it for
creature
Polearm?
Makes an attack?
Yeah, because the trick was the interplay between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sentinel was already strong enough. It didn't when you threw Polearm Mastery
didn't need a buff.
Into it.
It
didn't need anything.
As someone who's playing in a game with a total really barbarians with Sentinel, Great Weapon Master, and Polearm Master,
Sentinel
pretty nuts.
Sentinel only had the change of it now is within 5 feet of you, so it doesn't matter if you have reach. and it got an ASI. So like it got tweaked.
Okay,
it
so
didn't
then
really
polearm, there was something about the there was something about the combo that was changed, but I don't remember.
It also got an ASI immediately after taking the attack action and attack with the weapon that has the heavy and reach properties. You can use a bonus action to make a melee attack with the opposite end of the weapon. That's the same while wielding creatures, provoke an opportunity attack from when they enter the range while you're holding. Nope. Reactive strike is the same as it currently is. It just has they changed the wording on what weapons. So it has to have heavy end reach. It can't just be like a pike, quarterstaff, or spear.
Okay.
It has to have heavy end reach.
Well,
so
most
like
people were
they've
doing
changed some of the wording
with the glaive anyways.
I know. That's irrelevant. I think it really has to do with the fact that Sentinel has immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you does the disengage action.
Yes, that's what it is. You're right. That's what it is. Yeah. So they have to already basically, because before you could stop something coming towards you, now they have to already be next to you and be leaving, basically. That's what it was. There we go. We got there eventually.
That's it.
Got there eventually.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So it's just instead of making things unable to even come close to you, you just
you can make them not run away, but they can come close still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No.
Which is like but it also is a debuff to probably one of the strongest feat combos in the entire
it's fine.
game.
I'm not complaining about that one.
I'm not complaining about it because people would build that and it's a little ridiculous.
I mean, it still is pretty.
It's still strong.
Still pretty
it's still
beefy.
strong.
Yeah, like it's still a good combo. It's not like they nerfed it in the deterrent. So
that being said, heavily armored and nothing changed.
I mean, I don't think they're going to change the heavily armored or medium armored. Heavy armor master though.
They did get rid of
heavy armor master got a nice little buffy buff.
It did, yes.
I'm happy with the way that they changed heavy armor master because
it's not just fucking +3.
It's not +3 to or -3 to the damage. They also changed the ASI to Constitution or strength instead of just strength.
Which that's pretty nice. Yeah.
Very good.
And
very good. Happy where this is.
The thing that I like too, they removed the big word. Magical.
Yep.
Magical damage no longer overcomes this.
Yep.
Thank God.
This is a very, very strong buff. Honestly, I thought heavy armor master is probably like understandable if you're trying to be a tank and you're wearing heavy armor. Cool, whatever. I think that this is a fine buff. It does make, it does make the tanky characters that are building tanks even tankier. However,
I'm literally just never gonna attack Django ever again. It's not even worth it.
I mean, that's quite literally how you win those encounters. You want to know how you win? You murder Zephyr, and then you murder Kai, and then you murder Leah, and then you murder Django. That's how you do it.
You say that, but like, I'll call you on it.
Josh, just cast the mace spell on him. Yeah, or that.
Or just fireball. Yeah. Because it doesn't care. Like,
wait, Josh, you forgot about cooking book. Come on, man. He battle.
This is bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing.
All cast email and then run away.
It's bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing. It does not affect magical damage that is specifically of a elemental type.
Right. Yeah.
It's just
you can still lightning bolt him or whatever.
You can still lightning bolt him.
It's still.
I get it. You just don't punch Django in the face because it's not worth it.
It's just punch Django in the face more. That's why I fucking built him this way.
It's just particularly annoying at the moment when it's gotten to the point that I literally can do nothing. But anyway,
I mean that's how I felt
talking about this right now because this is specific.
That's how I felt about Zealot Barbarian Echo Fighter combo where I'm like, I punch him in face and it does 2 damage.
Yeah,
I get it. I understand.
We don't need to talk about my campaign right now, but it is fucking annoying. I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Like, I get it. It's annoying when that character's like, I literally can't kill you, but then you're just like, but then you give them something that they've asked for with big creature that hit really hard, and then just don't make it attack Sophie. Give him his 1v1. You make big tanky boy fight big tanky boy. There he go. He happy.
Yeah, pretty much. As long as I can see the damage number down at me, then I'm happy.
I would just like to see your health bar move, at least once. Just once in a while.
It will. I just have a lot of sustain, so it's fine.
Is that too much to ask with your 26 AC? Is that too much to ask? That's all I'm saying.
Maybe.
I think the problem here, Josh, is that we have
going down a rabbit hole. Moving on. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
We have big burst DPS and big tanky boy right next to each other, and then we just go stab.
How about that inspiring leader though?
Inspiring leader, ASI good. Con, it heals you less. Not a fan of that.
Whatever.
Well, because hold on.
The
whole thing about this one, right?
It
was level plus charisma.
Yeah, see, that's great.
That's the
old
But now
version, it's just 2d4 plus prof, which it makes its scaling not as good, which is kind of a problem, right? Like, if you don't want to take away a feat's scaling, because that means it's great early level and then dog shit later on.
In comparison, yeah, but I don't know. How many people actually take inspiring leader that often?
Yeah.
Not many, but by making it worse, now they'll take it less.
Yeah.
I did think that I thought that they had made it so it was short and long rest, not just long rest. But no, that was the original feat. I don't know. I still feel like
they did. Yeah, the new one is short or long rest.
No. They're both short or long rest.
Oh. Well,
actually, hold on. No,
wasn't the old one 10 minutes?
No, it was 10 minutes. So that's even worse.
Yeah. I mean,
but they did. Well, I guess that's.
I mean,
they
like
made it once per
the
long or short rest. So it kind of doesn't really matter. You just have to
I mean, the thing about the whole 10 minutes
to be like, hey guys,
you will just say every time you do a short or long rest, you just do it.
I mean, here's the thing.
Oh wait, this is where Song of Rest went. I found it, guys.
Matt, please no.
Here's the thing, though, right? Is that whole 10 minutes thing. A lot of people were just doing that at the end of rests anyway, because that's the easiest time to do it anyway. So it's kind of whatever.
Okay, guys. I know we're about to go fight the big boss to stop him from doing the evil thing.
Let me give you a slap on the ass real quick.
Let me give you a 10-minute speech right outside the boss door.
She starts playing the NFL music.
It quite literally just reminds me of when in 14 buffs didn't reset upon wipes.
Yep.
So you had to sit there for several minutes for the paladin to get all the ground back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know it it's not many people.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand that not many people take it, but that you do not solve that by making it worse.
No,
I don't know. I think they'll just change this one again. I feel like
I hope so, because
I don't know. I don't really mind the 2d4 plus your proficiency bonus. I think we should be stepping away from adding your level to everything with a lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
Why? I would say, why so?
While it makes things more consistent, it takes away from the proficiency bonus stuff that we could be adding to things.
Maybe. So
because it's just trading it. I think that a lot of the time when we take proficiency bonus away, what I'm trying to say is we don't use proficiency bonus for a whole lot besides class stuff. Putting it into feats versus taking level and doing that, even with the undead warlock shroud ability where you gain your level plus a d12 of temporary hit points, it's pretty strong.
It's pretty nice.
It's very strong, really and that's good. But I think that instead of adding our level, we should make it a little bit more homogenized. Instead of doing proficiency and level, just proficiency.
So I understand what you're saying. My thing with that is again, this will become useless at later level. You might as well not do it, because things are going to be hitting you for way more than 14 points at max. You're going to be hit for quite a bit.
That's not the max. It's 13.
But 2d4 plus 6. That's 14.
Oh no, proficiency bonus. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I for some reason I thought proficiency bonus stopped at 5. Yeah, 6,
so
14.
9 plus 10.
Okay, but like
versus
25.
Yeah, well, like
is 25 that much better though?
Yeah, it's 40% higher. That's pretty good.
I think at that point it doesn't really matter if we're talking higher levels because things were hitting you for so hard. I think at higher level HP becomes more irrelevant than at lower levels.
Also, no one plays at high level, so it doesn't matter.
Well, okay, but yes, I understand the joke. But if we're trying to make higher level less of a clusterfuck, lowering all the health margins does not do that. You know, like, so I don't know. It seems like one of those things where it's like it's like, what if you took the tough feat, but after level 10, you only got 1 HP extra as opposed to 2? Well, it's like, well, what the fuck? Why? Why would I don't want that? That sounds terrible. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, that's still pretty strong.
Yeah, but it's when you see what you used to have and then you see what they do to you, you're like, well, what the fuck?
Look at what they've taken from us.
It is worth pointing out.
It's literally that though. Like no funny. It's literally look what they've taken from us. Like,
I mean, yes, it is worth pointing out though, Isaiah, in reference to that specifically, that if you didn't have the old version of the Inspiring Leader feat, this would not bother you at all. Right? Like,
yeah,
if you
that's 100% a fact. Yeah.
So it's like, is it that bad, or are you just mad that it got a little nerf? You know.
Also, fun fact: they turned this feat into a spell in the Acquisitions Incorporated book. I think it's like a 3rd level spell now.
Well,
that's kind of funny.
Yes, I think it's completely logical to be upset about something that they've changed for the negative. Yeah, like
I think you're being maybe a little too mad.
No, I don't think I am. Like, I don't use this feat, but in the sake of objectivity, it shouldn't have been done. Like,
I don't think shouldn't is the word to use, but like, I just don't. I
think they're testing. Again, it's all tests. So maybe people in playtest are going to say,
this feat, or they'll make it better.
I will say 2d4 feels kind of random.
Bards, I think, is where they're thinking of this.
See, Song of Rest. I was correct.
Bards
it's right
never
there.
used a d4. Bards use a d6. Bardic Inspiration's a d6 to start.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and Song of Rest also starts at a d6.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. But anyways, but also it's 2d4. Math is better than a d6.
No, I know. I'm
Sam,
saying
the
fact that it's d4s and not d6s.
What I'm trying to get to here is that, again, it doesn't exist, so I don't care. It could be an 8th level feat. They could improve it. It could be something even better than what we currently have. Looking at these and saying it's worse, that's fine, but we also have to take into account that even though we may not be able to...
because again, before, they didn't have level curves. Now they do have level curves. So it's like...
Yeah, look, I understand what you're saying. I get it. And I'm not just writing them off. I am saying that this iteration, as it is now, in my opinion, just doesn't work. That's not saying it will never work. I mean, but the way that it is now,
it works. That's not true. It absolutely functions.
Actually,
hold on. Doesn't this make it better at lower level though?
Yes, he said that.
Yeah. So if we think about that for a second, so if it's better at lower level and then there's an 8th level upgraded version of it, that would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but we don't have that 8th level upgraded version. So
I know. I'm just saying you got to kind of consider that that possibility.
Yes, but also and if you're again, I get that we don't see it, we can't look at it, it's not real. That's fine and all, but this is also not real. This is playtest material.
Also true.
Like this isn't something like we can base our opinions off of this, but
I think actually
we can't be like this is what it's going to be. My point is that by being like it's worse, I hate it. In this regard, because it's better at lower levels, it's worse at higher. We can say that later on it'll be better. Like it could literally just improve encouraging performance, and it would be like, all right, it's better than what it currently is, or it could be worse.
I'm thinking the fact that it actually in this version of it scales better at lower levels tells me that it's almost certainly going to get a higher level like upgrade version. That just would make a lot of sense.
Sure. Again, that's a maybe, and I don't like gambling on maybes.
I know, but we have to take it into consideration because that's part of what playtest is, right? Like you kind of,
but
you know
how your the length to which your consideration comes in and mine, it seems are there's a bit of a dichotomy there.
Well, because I think you're ignoring the possibilities.
On opposite ends of it.
Like, that's fine.
I feel like we're completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Like literally, we're considering the possibility that this might be improved later. That's something to submit, and you're considering as it is just entirely, and that's fine. It's just, if we're going to submit feedback on playtest material, we should be considering the possibilities of what they might do with it, with what they've told us.
Yeah.
Like, we see that this is like this. Is it going to have an improved feat later? We can't just throw the whole thing out and be like, no, this is bad.
No, of course not. Well, because that's not what critique is.
I think, I think for me, the thing is, I think it is more fun, and B, more productive to look at something and go, wonder why that nerf got that thing when it wasn't that strong before. Maybe there's going to be some more going on with it later down the line. That feels just better and more interesting than just being like, man, it's fucking ass now and I'm mad. You know, like, that's kind of how I'm coming at it. It's more interesting.
Look at the YouTube video.
Sure, that's more how you want to approach it. That's fine.
It's more interesting to speculate on it and sort of look into it. I think you're being really negative. You've been negative this whole time, and like I feel like
I've listed, I think at this point, half of them where I'm like, nothing bad, this is great.
I can think of two, but
yeah, heavily armored and heavy armor master, I feel, were the only two. And grappler. Okay.
Grappler.
That's 3. We had a discussion about fighting style and
elemental adept.
Yeah, I said crossbow expert. That's fine. That's great. Durable, again, that's fine. That's great. Like, quite a few of them I've been pretty okay with. Like,
right, but the one I'm saying is the ones you're hating on, I feel like you are really hating on.
I'm not hating. I'm critiquing because I'm offering thoughts on it. I'm not just saying it's bad. To just say it's bad is not critique, but what I'm doing is I'm saying, I don't like this. I think this fails. This is what I would have preferred. That's a critique.
Yeah. All right.
And again, you can disagree with me. That's fine.
I will plead the fifth. I made my case.
Moving on. Keen mind. It gives you expertise. That's pretty cool. This isn't a bad or a good, but it does implement the new study action, which is interesting. And it's a bonus. That's pretty cool. My one thing here is that it removes a lot of the flavor, which I wish it could have kept. You know, knowing the time of day, knowing your direction.
Yeah.
To me, I like that stuff because it's cool flavor.
I know this is like way down in the playtest, but have you guys looked at the study action, search action? Because I feel like they're kind of pointless.
Nah, I love them.
Really?
Purely as guidance tools.
I like that. I like that they put them in tables. I like that they had their own separate tables. And like, this is what this does. This is what this skill does. But it's like skill checks with extra steps. When I could
here's the thing.
Do a skill check. Like,
okay, they're not there's not that many steps, right? Essentially, all they're doing is sort of giving you guidance and codification on what skill checks you might want to use for what thing. And that's fine. They're kind of a non-mechanic, right? They're really a suggestion, but they're like a good clarification suggestion. So
what I think. Okay, so here's the thing, Matt. I think this is okay. So a lot of the time when we look at stuff, we look at it through our eyes and our experiences and whatever. When I like to look at game design and game changes and game balance, I like to look at it through the eyes of a person who has never played the game before. This makes things way more...
It's more clear.
More clear. It's just, this is how I would go about this. This is what I would do. This is what a new DM will look at and be like, I understand. If my player asks if I know about this thing, this is what I would do.
Like a whole separate action. Like I'd rather have the tables.
But it was already an action.
Yeah, it was already an action.
You
literally technically rules is written, any check was already in action. Like doing any kind of I observe.
Well, no, I mean
I
specifying it as its own action, which then leads to me doing a skill check.
But again, it already was.
Matt,
hold on. We're cutting each other off. Let's try to.
I understand where you're coming from, Matt, that it doesn't need to be written like that. But again, that's our experience speaking for us. They don't necessarily know, oh, this is how I should go about getting this done.
Also,
like new players do not think that way.
Even as
they don't, because when it's written vaguely, which is a lot of 5e was written pretty vaguely or random spots of the player's handbook or even in the DMG, like unless you read those books cover to cover several times, you might not think about this at all. This is helping people who don't read every single portion of this book.
This is just, I mean, even as someone who's GM'd a lot and does have the experience, I like this table just because a lot of the time someone will ask me like, can I make a check to know about this thing? And I'm not sure, should it be history? Should it be arcana? Should it be nature? I'm not sure. Oh, I look at the list. Oh, they're fighting an aberration, make an arcana check. Oh, you're fighting a giant, make a history check. You're fighting a fucking dragon, make a nature check. Like, I like that.
Right, no, I can just easily go bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. No, he's saying specifically the action itself.
I know, but the thing is it was already in action. It was just hidden, right? Like they didn't say it explicitly, but that was already how
and
it
that's
worked.
what I was getting on about with the going from cover to cover and reading the book several times and understanding the mechanics to a very good level. This just makes it so that newer players or even, slightly less newer players just have an ability to understand what is technically an action, because sometimes it's very vague. Like, again, making a skill check is an action, but most people don't even think about that. They just think it's a skill check.
That thing that everyone does where it's like, can I make a perception check to notice something on the monster? Technically, rules is written that takes up your action. Most people just let it be a free action, but technically that is supposed to take your action. So the study and the search action are just codifying that more clearly, but it was already a thing. It's like, it's almost a non-rule. Like they didn't actually make a new rule. It just looks like it, But also the other good thing is by making it explicitly the study action and the search action, then you can do what you did with Keen Mind, where you can tie it into other mechanics and like adjust it via other things. So you can have abilities like Keen Mind turn it into a bonus action, which is good, which is cool. You don't that way the player who has Keen Mind doesn't need to ask, can I do it as a bonus, please? Like the ability just says, bitch, give me as a bonus because ability say so. So that's the point of sort of recontextualizing it. That being said, none of this applies to the influence action. I think that one's
that's a whole
that one's a different problem
that we may or may not, most likely may not get to today.
Listen.
We might have to save rules for another one.
I fucking get
we're gonna have to pound through these fucking feats.
I guess let's just finish the fucking feats.
Yeah. All right. So lightly armored. This one's fine. They take away your ASI. Not a huge fan of that, but it's fine beside that.
They took it away because it's
ASIs to everything.
They took it away because it's a first level feat. That's why.
I know, but it's still technically a con. So they like.
Can I side note? There's no medium armored anymore because lightly armored gives you medium armor. So there's no medium armored feat. There's only lightly and heavy.
Weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I mean that makes sense, but
it's
also,
fine. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
So Mage Slayer. This one's interesting. You get an ASI, that's good. The Concentration Breaker, that one's basically the same. Guarded Mind. So this one is good and bad in my opinion. So it's good because it gives you an auto success. That's awesome. My thing here... Yeah, it takes away your resistance. You no longer have advantage.
You get legendary resistance, I said.
You do.
You don't get advantage anymore.
You don't get advantage anymore. It also, it limits you very specifically to intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saves.
I mean...
As opposed to just spell effects, which is what it used to be.
So they basically make Mage Slayer, like you don't get dex save advantage anymore. So like, when you get shot with a fireball, you don't have, the advantage of the dex save.
I think that's an acceptable compromise for an auto success.
I think, I
think it's just one?
I think that's fine.
I think an auto success is pretty strong.
It's pretty cool.
It is, but you're losing your saving throw versatility and you're losing your advantage.
Plus, there could be
one auto success.
There could be a cool upgraded version of this where you get like 3
I know, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm not thinking about those at all because I don't see them. I can't plan for them.
I know we've had this conversation.
I know.
But my point is,
I'm not going to stop just because you're not.
I think that the losing advantage is pretty strong, like a pretty strong negative. But like having an auto success on those is also pretty strong. Yes, it's only once, and it's long rest. Maybe it should be short rest or long rest.
I will say, if it was short rest or if it was proficiency is very strong. But if it was like
proficiency would be super strong later.
If it was short rest or if it was on maybe a recharge, that could be cool. Then I would
once
be
per
like
initiative, like one other. I forget what trait or feat is once per initiative, but like that would be pretty good.
Yeah, once per initiative, or I get like I don't know. Give players recharges. That's cool. I think it's fucking sick. I'll just give them a recharge. That'd be cool.
So like I think that we're just gonna have to see how this one plays out, because this one's like it remains basically the same except for you also lose the attack of op.
You do actually, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you lose the attack of op. I think that is actually the deal breaker on this one.
Yeah.
I think not being able to reaction attack.
Up next, we have Medium Armor Master. So you get ASI. That's a bit kind of the only thing they did that I think is good, but the only bad thing they removed is that you're no longer at disadvantage. Like they took away your ability to lose disadvantage with medium armor, which I think that kind of sucks. Like because that's a big reason why you take it.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, but like
I would argue that's a bigger reason than the +1.
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about disadvantage?
So
you don't get disadvantage on stealth checks for medium armor, but not all medium armor has that.
Yeah, not
so
all
like
medium armor has it.
Right.
Most of it does though, like scale mail, half plate. That's all disadvantage. I think the only two that don't is hold on, let me check.
Breastplate and hide, chain shirt, and breastplate. So like,
well, hide is light.
No, hide is medium. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. I'm looking at the official chart.
Yeah, hide, chain shirt, breastplate.
So like, but yeah,
it is worth noting. But you almost nobody gets breastplate as a base armor. You like most people just don't get that.
Yeah,
usually you get chain mail. You get chain shirt, scale mail. So, and nobody gets hide. So that was like just based on what
literally
you
no
get.
One takes hide.
Yeah, because it's not very good. But just based on the things that you get,
literally just take studded leather.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 35 more, but like whatever.
The things that you get as a player being chain shirt, scale mail. You have one of two options. So the feat kind of does matter a lot with the whole disadvantage thing, in my opinion. Granted, now that it's level 4, you can't take that off the bat, so there is stuff to be said about that. But I think, on general, the losing the stealth thing, it's not a deal breaker, but it very much is making me be like, I don't think I'm going to take this anymore.
I don't know. I just don't care about disadvantage on stealth that often. Like, I care about having advantage on it, but like disadvantage, I'm like, okay, my character doesn't like. I didn't build them for stealth.
No, well, but the thing is, right, is that Rangers could get medium armor, and this isn't part of the book, but Blood Hunters also get medium armor. So the fact that the hunters, who should be good at tracking and therefore theoretically should be good at not getting caught, can no longer do that as efficiently is kind of a problem. And that's not even like an optimizing, that's just playing to your class's strengths, and now you can't really do it anymore. Up next, Mounted Combatant. So this one,
bro,
I don't want to look at it.
Who the fuck even cares? It's mounted combat.
I mean, I do, because it could be cool.
This shit.
Well, look, they could have changed it for the better, so we don't know. Well, I mean, I know. So
I know, I read it too, Chief. You're not.
Well, maybe the viewers didn't. It's not about you.
Yeah, I know, but
I just don't care about mounted combat.
I understand, but some people do, though.
It's just the worst handled mechanic.
I know.
That's saying something.
I know. Look,
that's the worst part.
And we're gonna go real quick. So, ASI, that's good. It adds some cool flavor to training your to creatures, and it like puts it to other beasts that aren't necessarily horses, which is cool. That's one of those, the GM could allow it, but codifying things is good because it makes it easier. Cons, for your mount to have the evasion ability, you need to be on it. Not huge about that one. And you can choose whether you or your mount takes damage is based on your reaction. Again, not a huge fan of that, because if you are going to use mountain combatant, your animal needs to be good at sustaining, and now you can only do it once per round, which sucks if you're getting ganged up on by like goblins or shit. Not great.
Pretty sure that was how it worked before.
Nope. I double checked. Moving on. Observant. We already talked about this. Real quick, it gives you expertise. That's cool. It removed. That's the only good thing I could think personally, because this is basically just Keen Mind, but a little different. Because you get the search action as opposed to the study action. Not great.
It's weird that like now they're giving like other feats are now like, oh, you just have expertise and stuff. Meanwhile, there was the skilled feat that came out in Tasha's that's like you get a skill proficiency and expertise and a ASI. So it's weird that it's like, all right, so we're going to move away from that into this now. Like certain other feats are going to get expertise now, which is nice because I think other classes and things besides the rogue and the bard should get expertise.
True. And so I do like that a lot. The one thing I don't like, and I said this before, and like I said even previously, I wasn't a huge fan of this in general, is that it seems like they're trying to homogenize some of the feats. I'm not super cool with that, right? Because like this is basically just Keen Mind, but a little different, where it used to have some really cool differences in flavor. I wish they would bring that back. Polearm Master.
We already talked about that.
That's fine. Resilient. It's literally the same thing. Doesn't change. Ritual Caster. This is fucking cool.
Oh, the quick ritual? Yeah.
Yes. I have no cons for this. So you can cast, as one of the abilities you get is you can cast a ritual spell, and you don't have to prepare them anymore, which is cool. This one you do have to prepare, but that's fine. Well, actually, hold on. That might be a typo.
Quick ritual requires prepared.
It has to be prepared to be utilized, yes.
For a quick ritual.
The difference with ritual casting now is you don't need the ritual casting ability on your class to ritual cast a spell anymore. That's what changed.
Right. I think like every caster can now just
if it has the ritual tag, you can ritual cast it, period.
Yes. Okay, so here's something. You can no longer add spells to your rituals. That's a con I'm gonna mark.
Because of the spell book thing. No, wait.
So it used to give you basically a spell book where you could add more rituals. Now you can't do that.
Well,
because that was the feat, or was that the warlock ability?
No, it was both.
Well, that ability is pointless now, because if anything has the ritual tag, you can ritual cast it, so it doesn't matter.
Well, so all it says is you always have the 2 ritual spells. So I was wrong. I misread this. It's only the 2 ritual spells that are A, first level spells, and B, the only 2 that you have prepared that you don't need to prepare them anymore. So actually, this one just got worse, basically.
No, but you can't look at this feat without considering the fact that ritual casting in general got changed.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. I'll give you that.
That's a huge factor in this.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Sentinel, we already talked about. Sharpshooter.
Did we talk about it? I think we talked about
We talked about Great Weapon Master. It's the same thing.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah.
The weird
Sharpshooter,
thing is Sharpshooter doesn't give a damage bonus anymore.
Nope, I don't like that, but we talked about that before. Besides that, it's the same.
Well, Great Weapon Master still gives a damage bonus. Sharpshooter doesn't give any.
Oh, yeah. So this doesn't give you anything. So, yeah.
That's a little stupid. But it also, I mean, I guess they could be considering the fact that long shots don't give a disadvantage.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably where they're coming from. And the half cover and 3/4 cover.
Yeah.
Well, the cover was there already, but the long shots
no, long shots was.
Was it?
Yeah, firing in melee is what they added.
Firing melee.
They added firing in melee, and they removed the damage bonus. So like having all of those together, it's still a strong feat.
It's still very strong
for people who use
just like Great Weapon Master is still very strong.
Yeah, but
this is just better for ranged people than Weapon Master is. I feel because of the no longer having disadvantage on the ranged attacks is very important.
Yeah, so
not having the damage bonus that Great Weapon Master has is sad, but like firing in melee. Sure.
I mean, this leads back into the thing I said before, where we're homogenizing too much, I think.
I don't think firing in melee is homogenizing.
Well, it's crossbow expert literally gets the same thing. Like, so to me,
I feel like ranged, except for crossbows, has always had this problem of they have literally no way to build around ending up in melee combat, which is inevitable.
Well, so I think so what I had expected them to do, right, is because we got the gunner feat, what I had expected them to do was to use the gunner feat and have that replace crossbow expert. So it's no longer crossbows, it's just any ranged weapon that's you can wield in one hand, which involves guns, but it also can involve, slightly bigger ranged weapons. And that way you wouldn't have needed this for sharpshooter. There could have been some cool interplay on stacking the feats, where now it's like, well, there's no reason to do that anymore, and like it seems like kind of a bummer to me. Now again, they can do this. They can do this as a tier, which I understand.
I was going to say, I think the reason why they would homogenize things to that level is because the tiers will be different.
Maybe.
I think that's the case. Like, I really think that's how they're going to go about it. I think that it is going to be this feat is the same here, but when you take this level of this feat, it has different effects, or like this does more damage, this one gives more utility, so like you have a reason to take one over the other. I think that's how they're going to go for it, because it makes little sense to homogenize literally everything to be the same, but like, firing in melee and giving that to sharpshooter, like it doesn't give you, you ignore the loading requirement of weapon in hand weapons. You don't get long shots. Like there are differences. It's giving them firing in melee does not change the feat too much that you're never going to take crossbow expert.
Maybe. Yeah, yes. Okay. I'm gonna lock it at a straight maybe. Shield Master. This one is mostly good with one big debuff in my opinion. So ASI, that's cool. You didn't get that before. Now your Shield Bash acts as a part of your attack action, but it doesn't state that it takes up your secondary attack. So you can bop if you have extra attack. That's cool. Yeah. I love that. You lose your shield bonus to your dex saves. And this is one of those few ones where Shield Master in general is a pretty meta feat, so to take the meta out of the feat is kind of strange, right? Like, because you want this to be more defensive. You want this for your ability to evade.
Wait, hold on. So you add your shield bonus to your dex saving throw?
You used to, not anymore.
Used to, yeah.
In the current,
you can use your reaction to take no damage if you succeed.
That's the same.
Okay, I misread that again. My bad.
Yeah,
you're right.
So it's a tweak. It's not a debuff. It is a buff, but like, because you're taking away the +2, it's less consistent, but you take no damage.
Okay.
And as a reaction,
and that there's no limit to that. It's just, you have one reaction per round.
Reaction.
So okay,
yeah.
Yep.
So you know what? I will mark this as nothing bad on this one. I'll give you that.
Hold on. Wait, no. Because I think because Shield Master. If you're subjected to effect, you make a dex saving throw to take only half damage. You can use your reaction to take no damage if you succeed in proposing your shield. Oh, no, that's not it. If you are incapacitated. If you aren't incapacitated, you add your shield's AC bonus to any dex save throws you make against a spell or other harmful effects that target you.
Oh no,
they took that out.
They just took it away.
Yeah.
Which is like,
I'm gonna mark that. So I'm back to marking that as a con.
Okay. I didn't realize that they had interposed shield was also like just a default thing.
So I'll mark this as a very good with a not major but noticeable con in my opinion. It's not anywhere near a deal breaker because it's very good, but I will be like,
I mean, you also knock them prone with the bonus attack,
right?
You do. That's like I'm thinking about that as well.
That is pretty good. I think knocking someone prone consistently, because it's every turn you can knock someone prone. It's not limited.
You knock them prone, and then your next shield bash is with advantage, and then you just pancake them.
Well, no, because you knock them prone with your first attack action. every single attack you make after that has advantage.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's very strong.
And anyone else around you till it's their turn
Right.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
that's pretty strong. I feel like that's worth not
so you
having
lose
the plus
the
two.
defensive
You lose the
spell
defense
effect,
for
but
offense.
you
4 or
gain-
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird with the shield's feat.
A
little weird.
Well, I mean, it's a little weird, yes, but it's still like.
But it does make
Good.
sense from the fantasy of a knight situation.
Yeah, I think the balance here is the force has been kept in balance.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
I think for balance sake that's fine.
Up next is Skulker. So ASI,
They
that's good.
completely reworked this one, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
So they like a pretty general pro is they've cleaned up a lot of the language, which is really nice. And they've given you blind sight out to 10 feet, which
That's great.
it's very good, yeah. As opposed to dim light. Now you could argue some things about how, like, if people use dim light correctly, technically the dim light would be a little bit stronger because it gives you more vision, but the blind sight is really good at close range, so it gives you a few things. My thing here,
it literally means that like even if you're in like magical darkness, you can still fucking see. You know?
Yes.
Like that's a pretty fucking good buff.
That's
Well, let's say that it's really good in close range. It just it sort of fizzles out at longer
just
ranges.
never comes up. I think is the thing.
Yeah. Skulker also has the thing of it used to let you hide from being lightly obscured, and I don't the language on lightly obscured, I believe, was very particular.
The language on the being obscured
Sight
in general for hide is kind of
I know, and now
And
they're changing that
it's-
with the hide action and stealthing in general.
It's kind of always been DM's discretion, and I don't know. I've always felt weird about that. I think giving advantage on dexterity checks to hide in general, because I think the DC is just 15 straight up.
Now it's
Is like that's good. I do, because again, lightly obscured is kind of weirdly written,
Right.
but
It is, yeah. So like it's not. Maybe calling it a con is not the correct word. It is like something to note more than anything else, right?
yeah.
It's something to be aware of. So they also like they clean up the language for sniper. Like if you miss, you're not you don't lose hidden. That's cool.
Yep.
Moving on, Speedster. It's just mobile. Except you no longer have the rakish audacity. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Matt.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say I don't know why they changed the name. That's so weird.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that either. The one thing, like, nothing changes on the pros side. It's all you get is you get an ASI. That's the only real like pro of note. Your movement. Sorry, never mind.
Movement increases.
Yeah, well that was a thing with mobile. The only thing that they really took away again is
It was you don't provoke opportunity attacks.
You don't provoke opportunity attacks as long as you hit somebody. That's basically it gives you rakish audacity.
Yeah.
Not a deal breaker, but something worth noting. We already talked about Spell Sniper.
Well,
Warcaster
as
you
well.
You get an ASI. There are no
Warcaster's the
cons.
same,
It just got better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just got better.
Weapon training is weapon training.
Well, so weapon training did get a pretty noticeable buff. It used to make you choose 4 weapons. Now you just get all martial weapons.
All martial. Okay, that is way better.
Yeah, it's good. It's just
still
I don't
like
know.
why
It's pretty
Weapon
boring
training.
feat in general.
yeah.
So here's an observation that I was thinking. I maybe would have liked if this gave you a new classification, right? So like you are now considered an expert and a warrior. That could have made some pretty interesting interplay, and we can't really know until later on, and this is where I'm sort of going to break my own rule. But
I feel like if they make that into feats, that defeats the purpose of people wanting to multi-class for that, though.
or
maybe.
like specific subclasses giving you abilities from other things. Yeah, it's
Well, what I mean is that, like, if you're gonna make a feat give you warrior as a tag on top of your expert, then you end up having why would I multi-class for that when I could just take this feat and do it. That's all
I guess it kind of depends on how the tags get you missed.
Yeah. Because if it's worth it to have those, then but you also want to hit like level 18, and who knows?
Yeah, this is always like in normal 5e now. This is always a feat that I thought no one would ever pick because most people either
they still won't.
You pick a race, you pick a race that gives you the weapon you want, or you pick the class that gives you the weapon you want. Yeah, and there you go.
I have actually taken this a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
The fuck? How? Why? How?
I wanted monks that could use long swords.
Oh, well, now with Tasha's.
This was before monk weapons were a thing. Yeah. But,
or a dedicated weapon.
Back in the way back. I have taken this a few, like 3 or 4 times actually.
Yeah. I actually, in the 3-year game, I actually homebrewed because the Shadow Monk player, because he's like, hey, I'm a monk and I'm also a rogue. He's like, could we do the whole like, sneak attack thing going off on my arm strikes? Because I don't need weapons. I use my fists. I'm a monk. I'm an assassin. I'm trained. Can I use? And we did it and it worked out in the end, but also it's like kind of funny. And it's just like, oh, you don't need weapons. Just use your hands. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's one of those where it's like, I kind of know why they did it, but to me, that's the same ballpark as, oh, well, you can't unarmed strike fuck it. I almost called this self-righteous smite because of Hellscapes.
Divine smite.
Yeah, you can't unarmed strike a divine smite, and the only reason they gave was because it didn't fit their idea of the fiction. So like, fucking go for it.
Yeah.
That was the last feat on the list.
It was.
We got the whole
ended with the most boring one possible.
I am. You know what? We just 15 minutes under 3 hours.
Yeah. So who's ever listening, we got you an extra chunky boy for this one. It's a nice thick Italian hoagie delivered straight to your doorstep and rammed in your ear holes. I hope you like
violent. I see this episode as an absolute win.
Yes, because.
Okay. Anyway, after this glorious almost 3 hours, I mean, we could just dick around for 50 minutes just to hit the 3 hour mark if we really
don't want to. It's getting late and I want to sit down.
Counter idea. You who are listening, you take that 15 minutes, you go to our YouTube and hit that subscribe button. You also go to the Twitter and hit the subscribe or the follow button on Twitter. And then you also go to whatever podcast platform you may or may not already be on and hit the follow button there. And, maybe there's a little star or review or whatever the fuck it is because they all do it differently. But, maybe spend that 15 minutes to tickle our gooch,
Yeah. Don't worry, by
and I will deliver that hoagie to your house personally.
Maybe.
Make it if you want.
Don't worry, folks. By the time the survey comes out, we'll be halfway through this playtest. Don't you worry. We haven't even gotten to the rules. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'd stop talking.
I guess. You know what? I'm gonna make a separate video about it. We're gonna be on hiatus for like 3 weeks because we're gonna be on vacation. But I'll make a separate video about that. So you know what? I'll tweet about it. I'll do a thing later.
So enjoy this episode. Replay it. It's 3 hours almost. It's fine.
We gave you an extra chunky boy because we're leaving.
We're leaving.
We are. Can I just say, like, I've been kind of unhappy with like how I felt the last few episodes went, like just the way that I like my participation in them. But this one, I'm like, yes, this was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
I feel real upset about my participation too, guys. I totally participated last episode.
You killed the last episode, Sam.
I really killed it.
So everyone say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye right now. I tell you all to hit the button.
Peace, motherfucker.
Hit the fucking button.
I'm out.
Sessions Cancer Podcast.